This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening. My name is Alan Fredrickson, and I'm the Land Use Administrator for the Town of North Haven. As indicated in the agenda for tonight's meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the meeting is being held via video conference and conference call, and there is no in-person public access to the meeting.
Alan, there's some feedback there.
Okay, guys, whoever's on here, mute yourselves now.
Alan, take them right out.
We're up to
Hey, mute yourselves.
whoever's not muted should mute themselves.
It says Brian Miller.
Yeah, it says Brian Miller.
Hey, Brian Miller, mute yourself.
Looking good, Teresa. There we go.
Okay.
So let me go back. Okay, from a video conference link and dial-in conference call number was provided for the commission members and interested members of the public to participate in the meeting. For members of the public who are listening, I would ask that you mute your phones if you're able so that we do not get any background noise. I have some important reminders. First, every time you speak, you must state your name for the record, except when the roll of the commission is being called. Second, we must be careful not to speak over one another so that everyone who is listening can hear what is being said and we have a clear record. For this reason, when it comes time for the commission to comment or to ask any questions or of any of the presenters, and also for the commission to vote, the clerk or the land use administrator will call the roll of the commission. Also, when it comes time for members of the public to comment, again, you must state your name and please spell your last name, please, so it is properly recorded. And also, please provide your address. This meeting is being recorded and the recording will be posted on the town's website. So, Vern, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, Alan, very good. We thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This is a Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. This is a special meeting of the commission for the Slate School application. Tonight is a public hearing and also a site plan, which will be taken together as we discuss the situation. I'm going to, how this works is the applicant will present the application, and then if the commission has any questions, we will ask the question, and then we're going to go to back to the applicant and then back out to the public. We're up to, that's where we're at now. This is the continuation of the meeting last month. So we will be going directly out to the public. With that being said, is there any changes, Alan?
No, there are no changes in the agenda.
Okay, let me introduce our staff before we get going. You see, Alan Fredrickson is our land use administrator, and Andy Belavatka, he is our town engineer. We also have Pam Miller, who is our staff secretary. Joining us later this evening will be Jennifer Capola, town attorney. Our secretary will be calling the roll for the opening of the meeting. With that, I believe we can go to Teresa.
Thank you, Vern. Okay, so I am going to call the roll. Vern Carlson,
Here.
Richard Wilson,
Here.
James Giletti,
Here.
Brian Cummings,
Here.
Paul Weidman,
Here.
Roderick Williams.
Here.
We know Joseph Salamini is not here, and Teresa Ranciato Vili is here.
Okay. Teresa, very good. Thank you. Just let me make one statement before we continue that Paul Weisman He did miss part of the meeting last month, but he did watch all the tapes and listen to it, the film, so he is eligible to sit if necessary. He is here tonight and sitting in. With that, I want to go directly to the reading of the.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're going to take them together, correct, Vern?
yes, we're going to take.
Okay,
Teresa, it's P20-38S is a special permit. Also P20- that's S, P-2038, and that's the site plan. Teresa, will you please?
so P20-38S, continuation of the special permit application of Timothy J. Lee, applicant, the Slate School, Inc. owner, relative to 5100 Ridge Road, map 97, lot 2, plan entitled Slate Upper School, 5100 Ridge Road, North Haven, Connecticut, planning and zoning submission, prepared by Mylone and McBroom, dated November 6, 2020, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, R40 zoning district. We're also taking it with the site plan, which is P20-38. Continuation of the site plan application of Timothy J. Lee, applicant, the Slate School, Inc. owner, relative to 5100 Ridge Road, map 97, lot 2. Plan entitled Slate Upper School, 5100 Ridge Road, North Haven, Connecticut, planning and zoning submission, prepared by Mylone and McBroom, dated November 6, 2020. Scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, R40 zoning district.
Okay, thank you very much. So, with that, would we have Tim Lee here this evening? Are you on with us, Tim?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. This is Tim Lee. I represent the Slate School with respect to this application for an upper school for grades 7 through 12 at 5100 Ridge Road in North Haven. As the commission may recall, we made a full presentation to the commission at its last meeting on April 19th. At that point, the commission was ready to hear from members of the public who were in support of the application. However, before we go to the public, we would like to spend about 5 or 10 minutes responding to some of the questions and or comments from the commission from last month. In particular, the commission had requested a rendering of the view of the school from both the Acapora property and from the DeSimone property. We also have a clarification regarding the lighting plan, a further analysis showing the density of the student population, which is consistent with other public and private schools in North Haven and the surrounding area. And finally, we did submit a response letter from SLR to the comments from the town staff. We'd like to take a couple minutes very briefly to go over those issues before we go to the public. So without any further ado, I would like to turn the presentation over to Tom Daly of SLR. Tom?
Thank you. I think Paulo will be bringing up the presentation. Thank you, Paulo. So I think Paulo, next slide.
Who's this? Is it Paulo or is it Tom Daly?
Tom Daly from SLR will be presenting the first 2 slides, but Paulo is at the driver's seat in terms of the presentation. So
Apologies for the technical difficulties. I will restart this momentarily.
Well, we got a picture of you now.
He will be bringing up a slide presentation for the commission.
Okay, very well.
But as soon as he reboots.
Well, actually, while we are waiting for this to come together, it might be a good time to let everyone know that we're going to be calling the meeting at 10 o'clock, as we did last month. And that when we do get to the public, I will repeat it again. They will have, I don't know how many you have to speak in favor of this, but be 1 to 3 minutes will be your allotted time, unless you are speaking for several people, and we'd like to know about that in advance. So go ahead, continue along with your presentation now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Tom Daly with SLR Consulting. We received some comments from the commission last time in terms of density, students per acre. So we went back and did some research in terms of other schools, both in North Haven and throughout the regional area. And this graphic represents a student per acre density calculation. The dots are a great representation to show you on a case-by-case basis of how dense of per acre is. So upper right-hand corner, you'll see the proposed Slate School. We're approximately 30 students per acre. If you compare that to North Haven High School, it's 58. North Haven Middle School, it's 27. And you can see by these graphics, we also looked at Green Acres, Amity High School, the Foot School, and Hamden High, and also Notre Dame High School. And you can see on this is the average of the schools noted below is about 41.78 students per acre, where we're at 30. And even if you did take out Notre Dame High School, which is the densest one of all of them, it's still averaging 36.2 acres 36.2 students per acre. And as you can see from this graphic, we're below that or right at that mark, actually slightly below. Next slide. But as you know, many of these schools do have large athletic facilities, a lot of athletic fields, especially the public schools. Those fields are available to not only the students of those schools, but many of the recreational activities for the town residents. So we took and as you know, on this project, we do not have any athletic fields. So we took a deeper dive into those density calculations, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you're still seeing the proposed Slate School at 30 students per acre. And you can see it really dramatically changes that. So you'll see North Haven High School at 82 students per acre, North Haven Middle School at 47 students per acre, and so on. On this chart you're getting an average of about 66 students per acre, which is more than double of what we're proposing. And once again, even if you took the densest school, which is Notre Dame, out, we're still those remaining 6 schools would show up at about 50, just over 52 students per acre. So based upon that, we believe we are not only consistent with the other schools on a prorated basis. We're obviously a much smaller school than many of these, but in terms of a prorated basis, we're not only right with our peers, but once you exclude the athletic fields, we're actually much lower density than our peers and other schools in town and in the regional area. But we hope this graphic really gives you a good sense of students per acre as a comparison to the other schools. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'll take over now. Paolo Campos with Patrick Wynn Architects. Good evening. I'm going to be speaking to the site lighting plan as well as to the view shed analysis. So at the April hearing, we heard a lot of questions and concerns from the commission members about the site lighting. So we took a look at that and pleased to present to you the revisions. So on the left-hand side of the screen, hopefully you can see my cursor as well. I'm pointing out the previous scheme that was submitted in November and then presented in April. And we had a quantity of lights that were serving the parking lot, building walkways and pathways, and then general illumination in courtyard and other areas. The revised plan that we are presenting now is here on the right-hand side. And you can see visually, we have really reduced the number of lighting fixtures throughout. The photometric plan, which was included in the packet, was also revised to accommodate for this new plan. And what I'm flagging right now in the orange line and by the dark black lines, the black is the property line, and the orange line is the 0-foot candle line. That is the point at which from the light source, there is no longer any detectable light hitting ground level. And so a key strategy here is to make sure that there is no light trespass beyond the property line. So as you can see, where there are sort of dark shades here, that indicates a registerable, measurable quantity of light. Where it fades into the kind of half-tone orange is where there is no measurable light. So the 0-foot candle line, as you will, is wholly within the property line. There is no light trespass from the property or from the lights onto any of the neighboring properties. There were also concerns about the typology of the lights. So I have here the different kinds of lights that we are proposing, combination of building mounted sconces and wall packs, pole mounted lights for the parking lot, as well as bollards for the pathways. An important note here, all of these lights are 3000 Kelvin, meaning they are warm white, not cool or blue in tone, which is better for visual acuity at nighttime and also more sort of pleasing to the eye at night, where we're used to more warm colors. The other thing to point out is these are all full cutoff or downlight only fixtures, so they are dark sky compliant. There is no lighting pollution. Another key concern was the sort of controls narrative for the site lights. I think there was a little bit of confusion, so I just want to address this. The lights will turn on at dusk via a photocell, meaning there's a sensor that turns the lights on when the sun is below a certain point. Those lights will then be set to turn off at a predetermined time of day, or in this case, time of the evening. So they will all turn off throughout the entire property. At dawn again, they will turn back on via time clock and photocell. So they'll come on roughly around dawn, say 6 or 7 a.m., whenever that is throughout the year. And then when the sun hits a certain point, they will turn off again. There will be limited override ability for special events. So if there's an event that goes until say 8 or 9 o'clock, the lights can be on. But again, the time clock will shut them off. So there will be no light on throughout the night. There will be no motion sensors, so you won't have triggering of lights by animals or anything else like that. And again, the security system will accommodate that. Right, the last thing I want to touch on briefly is we were asked to provide renderings, sort of a view shed analysis of the project from the 2 neighboring properties. So location number 1 is the neighbor to the north at 5200 Ridge Road. And then number 2 is from the south at 5060 Ridge Road. So this is a view from the yard of location number 1, taken roughly in late April, so early springtime. And now you see a view of the existing vegetation grown in. You can barely see the buildings beyond, and that is because of the planting plan and the disposition of the buildings. So at the last presentation, we mentioned very specifically the design called for the buildings to be lower, to sit into the site and not be kind of high, prominent on the street. So what you see here, again, the existing vegetation grown in, and then a line of plantings, evergreens that we are proposing on our property to screen the school from view of the neighbors. And as evergreens, those will be this dense throughout the year. You won't have deciduous trees making it visible. So this is a view from the south, looking back to the north. You can see Sleeping Giant, the ridgeline beyond. So this is a view of the existing church building, somewhat screened by the existing vegetation, and a view of the parking lot and this kind of understory canopy of trees here. So again, some of those will be removed in favor of the new scheme. There you see that the very top of the church building as it renovated showing through. But again, the majority of the site is blocked from view by the new understory vegetation. Again, evergreens, hollies, things that are lush and full throughout the year and do not drop their leaves. You can see also that Sleeping Giant remains visible, minus the cover provided by the existing tree canopy that falls beyond our property. So that concludes our presentation. Tim, I will turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's any questions from the commission, we're happy to try to answer those. Otherwise, we're willing to move on to hear from the members of the public.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Brian Cummings. I do have a question.
Stand by 1 second, Brian.
Okay.
You want to take any questions now of the commission? Have any questions that you want to ask now?
Yeah, and I thought Brian had one. Yeah, and I do.
Have some, Jim?
Thanks, Jim. I do, Vern. For Paulo, on the page that is the site photometric plan, you have examples of the lights. Is the one on the lower left-hand corner the bollard light? The ballard light?
This one here?
Yeah, is that it?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so that's an example of a lit and bollard.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good.
Is that it, Brian?
That's all, Vern. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is anyone else? Jim, you got some questions?
I do. So going back to the view from the two houses, pick either one of them. You gave us a view of what's there now, right? You didn't do a rendering of what's going in?
It's hard to see in this view, so let me go to the next view. This is what is there now.
Right.
And then this is the view of what is proposed. So it is difficult to see, and that is intentional by design. There
Okay.
you see the existing church building, the raised roof that's part of the project, and you can just barely see through some peaks in the tree cover the roof of the academic building here. You see beyond little elements of the site revision, so the parking lot. So again, this is by design. If I go back to the site plan, those view sheds are very specifically loaded with screen plantings, as you see here and as you see down here, to make sure that we are blocking the view.
Okay, but the church building is being modified inside, but the building itself is staying, right?
Correct.
And the new building, you call it administrative building or whatever you called it, is that shown in the house at 5200 Ridge, that picture? Yeah, is that building there?
Yes, it is. It is there. Again, the intent is that it is hidden behind this line of evergreen plantings.
The evergreen plantings that are not there yet, is that?
Not there yet, but are proposed in the site plan.
Okay. So my only other question was when whoever presented it about density, I noted that you got all the schools in the area, but not Slate School, the other Slate School. Right?
Correct. And we were trying to look at high schools and middle schools as opposed to an elementary, but we can take a look at that.
Yeah,
these were, we are at
not going to be anything like this, right? And is Hamden Hall just a high school? They don't have anything below 9th grade?
I'd have to check. I believe the Foot School has below that, but
I think so.
But definitely the comments we received last month were from the commission were focused on high school comparisons and other, bigger projects. So that
my comment wasn't just about high schools, because I talked about the acreage at all the other grammar schools, in fact, in town being much larger. So I just find it surprising that you got all these other schools, including Foot Schools, Grammar School, and Hamden Hall, I think, has kids underneath. And Green Acres is in a high school. But you left out the Slate School, which density is much less than this.
We can do a deeper dive. We didn't know where to. I think this commission was well aware of Slate. Mr. Gillette, you know what the details of Slate
I do
pretty well.
It's got like 27 acres and 32 kids.
But I guess at what point do we stop looking? We could also look at the urban schools in downtown New Haven, and so we tried to find ones that we thought. No, but we tried to find ones that were what we thought. Be honest with you, what we thought were comparables.
So the other Slate School you didn't think was comparable?
No, I think that's different, but it's different.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Good, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else from the commission?
Yeah, I have a question, Vern. This is Rich Wilson.
Go ahead, Rich.
So according to your chart, you're showing the limit of 90 students for these 3 acres of land that you have.
That's correct.
Is that the cap? They're not going to go over 90 students for the school?
That is correct. And then I think we put that into our zoning application. So it just as on Slate 1, I believe the commission we were very clear in our applications about what the density was, and we stuck with that. So we are committing to that. And I would assume that if anything ever changed, we would have to come back to this commission.
Okay. And the timeline of the growth of those trees that are shielding the neighborhood from the school, how long from the time that you would put the trees in to the way that it looks in your photograph?
I don't know if Jason Williams from SLR, the landscape architect, is on the call, but we were proposing to purchase and install these trees largely at a mature size. So in the 8 to 10 foot range, right off the truck.
Paulo, that's correct. And we can get the commission more detail on that, but because we knew we were going to be asked a question like that, we attempted to show the plantings at planting time, not 15 years down the road.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So we've gone to an effort to put together fairly large trees at those important buffer locations, but we can provide some. We'll get clarification on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's all, Vern.
Okay, thanks, Rich. Anyone else from the commission? Okay, hearing none. Tim?
Thank you. I think at this point in time, we're ready to go to the public, but before we do so, I would just like to note that we have submitted 217 individually written
Tim,
letters.
we can't hear you at all. If you can hear me, we can't hear you.
Well, we can hear him here.
Actually, I could hear him too.
I can't hear him at all. Okay.
You're the lucky one, Teresa.
You're back.
Just for the record, I'd like to point out that we have submitted 217 individually written letters from supporters and people who are in favor of the Slate School. Many of those letters come from residents of North Haven. Some of them come from people who have moved to North Haven in order to have their children attend Slate School. Others have come from Hamden and surrounding areas. And finally, some of the letters have come from the academic community who are very impressed with the good work that the people at Slate School are doing. Due to time constraints at the last meeting, the commission was unable to hear from members of the public. We had over 100 people at the Zoom meeting last night who wanted to speak, or last month, who wanted to speak in favor of this application. Tonight, we have 100 or so people who are dedicated enough to the mission of the Slate School to be willing to spend a second night with the Planning and Zoning Commission in order to have the opportunity to express their support for the Slate School. In light of the large number of speakers in favor of the application, we have asked, as the chair mentioned, to have those people limit their comments to 1 to 3 minutes. I do have a list of those people who want to speak in favor of the application tonight. Because we're in the world of Zoom and it's a little bit difficult to coordinate the public speaking, I would suggest that I be allowed to call out the names of the public speakers in order to try to move this along in an orderly and quick fashion. If that's okay with the chair, I can run through the list of people I have, and maybe that will help expedite things this evening.
Yes, that would be a good idea, Tim. So you can call as you want your people to speak, and remind them to give us their name, full name, and spell their last name for us, and also give us their address, and of course keep them aware of the time limit. Being so. Okay.
All right, thank you for that reminder.
Sure.
So what I'll do is I'll call the name of the person to speak, and then I'll call the person I'm going to call next so they can be ready to go when the speaker's done.
Sure.
So the first person I'm going to call is John Giannetti, and I'll have Doug Davies on deck.
Hi, thank you. My name is John Giannetti, last name spelled Ginnetti. I live at 34 Mather Street in Hamden. Just wanted to speak on behalf of the Slate School. It's interesting actually to hear all those schools get mentioned because I'm a graduate of Notre Dame High School and have a son at the Foot School now. So I'm no stranger to schools in an urban setting. I've been lucky enough to come to know the Slate School over the past year, and I actually was lucky enough to visit it not too long ago just to see what was going on there before I spoke on behalf. As far as, I recognize that people have concerns with their neighborhood, especially when it comes to traffic. Those densities are impressive to me. Especially during COVID, I was impressed with my son's current school and the way the traffic was managed. It all occurs, pick up and drop off all occur on one street. And with 6-foot distancing, it was really quite striking to see what could be done with that number of kids being dropped off in that small of an area. And without sort of prattling on, again, would like to just offer my support for it. My son is, crazily enough, a middle school student now, and part of my interest in this is auditioning high schools for him. So if Slate School was approved, it would be high on our list. And that's it from me. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Doug Davies and have Sarah Lambert on deck.
You keeping the time as well, Tim?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a Doug Davies on the call? If Doug is not available.
You can hear me?
Yes, Doug, by all means, go ahead.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm familiar with I'm a member of the first graduating class of Green Acres.
Doug, could you give us your name, spell your last name, and give us your address?
Douglas Davie, D-A-V-I-E. I'm at 182 Ives Street in Hamden, stone's throw from Mansfield, very close to the school, very familiar with the Slate School. I was saying I'm first graduate of Green Acres School back when, also Foot School. As a North Haven area family of 4 generations, we wholly support the proposal for the Slate Upper School at Ridge Road in North Haven. Being very familiar with the neighborhood, our family home of 54 years at 11 Ridgewood Terrace, and owners of Ives Street residents since '94. We have 12 acres there, so we enjoy the area, very familiar with the Slate School being a positive asset contributing to our local community. We believe it is in the highest and best interest of all concerned, neighbors, community, and environment, to have the vacant former Mount Carmel Christian Church property continue as the place to congregate for a higher purpose. That purpose being the Slate Upper School. Their mission to provide inspired and creative learning and to respectively embrace and preserve the environment is most welcome and appropriate for the area. As demonstrated over the last few years, the Slate School at 124 Mansfield Road has integrated school, neighborhood, and preserved the environment is most welcome. They've distributed this exquisitely to meet the purpose. This school will help further enhance the Ridge Road facility as a place for learners and thinkers in the community. And we look forward to the education lab idea and future presentations, programs enriching and encompassing the residents as well. We hope the proposed Slate Upper School will continue to be gracing our Sleeping Giant area. This proposal has our full blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call Sarah Lambert and have Kathy and Peter Longley on deck.
Thank you, Tim. My name is Sarah Lambert, 2271 Ridge Road. That's Lambert, L-A-M as in Mary, B as in boy, E-R-T. My husband and I are 21-year residents on Ridge Road of the Blue Hills neighborhood and a near neighbor to Slate School. We first became involved in supporting the Slate School in its initial phase on Mansfield Road because we were so impressed with the vision for innovative education and an environmentally responsible atmosphere. Since that time, we've eagerly watched the success and the positive cultural, environmental, and educational impact of Slate School in our community, and we applaud the P&Z Commission for approving this worthy project in 2017. We've had the opportunity to get to know the Clarks and Julie Montcastle and their dedication to their students' development in a curiosity-based environment while learning critical learning skills and the application of creativity and collaborative thinking to everyday life. What a great foundation for a generation of future leaders. As Slate School was carefully planned and built, every consideration was given to environmental stewardship, from the site plan to the construction of the buildings with environment-friendly materials, to minimizing traffic, to the preservation of the grounds and natural habitats of local wildlife and vegetation. In short, we attended all 4 of the planning and zoning meetings and can attest that they have kept every promise they made throughout the process. Any concern or assumption expressed by opposing neighbors was addressed and proven unfounded and inaccurate. The Slate School campus has proven to be a beautiful complement to the Blue Hills neighborhood, lending a peaceful and gracious learning environment to inquisitive young minds. We've attended and personally benefited from the educational programs Slate School has generously offered to community members. They are a good neighbor and have given back to the community with these offerings. I encourage the community to participate and take advantage of some wonderfully informative and interesting topics, often relating to the conservation of our resources, which is in tune with the Slate School values. We've also had the opportunity to know and interact with staff and students and wholeheartedly endorse this creative and nurturing environment. Now, as the Slate Upper School at 5100 Ridge Road is being introduced, we enthusiastically support its development as the natural extension of learning for these young minds. Having attended the last P&Z meeting and watched the presentation of site plan and traffic study for Slate Upper School, it is abundantly clear that the same great care for our environment and civic stewardship is an integral part of this phase as well. The suggestions that were made by the board at that meeting were thoughtfully accepted, and as you can see today, have been integrated into the plan. These folks are very interested in responsible development and maintaining their same exceptional standard of community and civic stewardship. We look forward to seeing this project move forward. In closing, I would just like to briefly address a small faction of Blue Hills referring to themselves as the Blue Hills Association. We've seen them quoted as representing the neighborhood's opinion about Slate Upper School's plans. This could not be further from the truth. We've not heard anything from this group in the 4 years since they opposed Slate School in 2017. Whoever they are, they do not represent the views of the community and certainly not that of this household. We enthusiastically encourage the Planning and Zoning Commission to support and approve the establishment of Slate Upper School at 5100 Ridge Road. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Kathy and Peter Longley, and I'll have Kate O'Shaughnessy and Laura Lee Crowder on deck.
Hi, my name is Kathy Longley, Longley. I'm at 2262 Ridge Road in the Blue Hills neighborhood. And I welcome the addition of Upper Slate School to the Ridge Road area. That area would be much improved from the addition of Upper Slate School. And in the last several years, when the Lower Slate School opened up, I have never encountered traffic or issues of any kind. It is still a beautiful area in the Mansfield Road area. It remains pristine, well cared for, and it's very beautiful. And I believe it has been a welcome addition to the neighborhood. They also provide educational programs for the neighborhood and anyone that is, willing and able to attend. So they have really been an enrichment to the neighborhood, and I support their the addition of Upper Slate School. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathy.
All right, hello, my name's Peter Longley, Longley, and I live at 2262 Ridge Road in the Blue Hills section of North Haven. I agree with everything that's been said so far, and the Clarks and the Slate School team have been true to their word and have not caused any undue stress to the neighborhood. They create and build beautiful programs and campuses, or campus, I guess. They're artful, graceful, and unobtrusive to the environment. There's no reason not to trust them again. They bring value to humanity, to learning, and to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, Peter, thank you very much.
Sure.
Next, I'd like to call Kate O'Shaughnessy with Laura Lee Crowder on deck.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie O'Shaughnessy. I'm a resident of North Haven, Connecticut. I live at 180 Forest Hill Road. I am also an educator. I'm so grateful to have the honor to speak this evening in favor of Slate School. I used to work at a boarding school in California that focused on creativity and sustainability with a similar mission to that of Slate School, and I was very happy to learn that Slate wanted to extend their opportunities to older students. While it's amazing for younger learners to have the opportunity to learn experientially and in a project-based way, I'm even more excited to see what high school students will do with this unique chance. From the perspective of the land, I like that our town will have this project as a model for other businesses for how to build a green institution. Based on what I saw at the previous meeting with all of the demonstrations, I was really impressed. And based on the current campus as well, Slate sets the bar high for thoughtful environmental design. I can imagine students in the upper school having projects that extend into our community and teaching our residents about our town. I can imagine older students being change makers. And if our town is the site of their learning, they'll use our town's problems as their educational tools, and they'll help us solve them. Many folks working in schools aspire to do what Slate School is doing, but need models and guides to move them forward. Slate School provides this model to other schools by realizing their ideals within their program. Additionally, they enhance the education field by hosting panels, workshops, and other programming for educators. Having this tool for educators right here in town will draw talent, which is a unique opportunity. I would be eager to join in the community events that they begin to host at the church. I believe that the Slate School is a thoughtful neighbor and that growing their presence in our town will only enhance its beauty and care for our shared land, and I support this proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Laura Lee Crowder and have Paolo Solari on deck.
Hi there, I'm Laura Lee Crowder. My last name is spelled Crowder. I live at 270 Ridgewood Avenue in Hamden, and I'm here to speak in support of Slate School. I have dear friends with a child who's just flourishing there, and I have two children who I would strongly consider enrolling in the program. There really just isn't anything like Slate School around. I have children who, need a little bit of a different kind of learning environment, and that's what makes Slate School so attractive is that they offer a novel approach to learning through hands-on learning in the natural environment that they provide. And it's really exciting to see a school who's so dedicated to teaching children through nature and to teach them how to learn to appreciate and develop a relationship with the land as they learn to care for it. I think it'd be a great asset to the area. And like I said, I would gladly enroll my children if they're a little bit older. So it's not really an option for them at this point, but I'm in support of Slate School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Laurie.
Next, I'd like to call Paolo Solari and have Mark Trojanowski on deck.
Hello, Paolo Solari. That's Sellari from Shelton. Hello, my name is Paolo Solari. I'm a Shelton resident and I have a first grader at Slate School. I am here this evening to show my support for the Slate Upper School. Slate took on a tremendous task when they developed and grew the Slate School from the ground up. They created a community where learning is carefully crafted with the students at the center of each decision. Slate is more than a school. It is a community that cultivates respect for self and others. They teach the children how to care for each other and the environment. Slate not only thoughtfully designed the buildings, but also the landscape and culture of nurturing its students to become compassionate and gentle members of society, leaving the world better than how they found it. Slate ambitiously took on the vision of what we had all imagined as only a far-fetched utopian school and made it a reality. I'm sure we can all agree that before Slate existed, we all used to think, imagine if there was this beautiful school and a beautiful property that fostered our children to truly be the best version of themselves. Little did we know this vision had become a reality. Now Slate is again enthusiastically taking on the task of extending this vision to completion by developing a 7 to 12 upper school. Slate adds to the community, environment, and so much more. The idea of our children being able to continue their journey at Slate is very exciting for my family. As they grow older and can take on larger projects, research greater learning opportunities, and take on community-enhancing ideas, it excites me to think what the future would bring them through the inspiration that Slate provides them. With the continued fostering of their education and personal growth tied into the environment and community, I can't think of a better educational community for my children to be a part of. The attention to detail that Slate founders and faculty have put into these schools and its design, in my opinion, is only rivaled by the attention they give to their students. The joy in learning and the range of topics that my child dives into in both classroom and environmental experiences is a wonder, and I enjoy hearing about his days. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share these thoughts with you this evening in your consideration of the upper school in North Haven. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Next, I'd like to call Mark Trojanowski and have Ron Penton on deck.
Hi, I'm Mark Trojanowski. That's Trojanowski, 20 Montgomery Drive, Northford, Connecticut. I'm going to be speaking in favor of this application, and I've had I think the very unique opportunity to look at this from 3 different viewpoints, one of which is as the former chairman and long-term member of the Inland Wetlands Commission in the town of North Haven. Second is a long-term resident of the town. And thirdly, from somebody that's just very interested in education and all that Slate has brought to the town. First, and if I can be informal, Chairman Carlson or Vern, Rich, Teresa, Jim, the other members of the commission, I think we can all reflect on some of those learning opportunities of having a problematic, a troubled application. I think that in our history together, we've had to deal with 1 or 2 that have just consumed so much of our time. Nonetheless, there's always something to be learned. And I think the takeaway that I've had from having a problematic application is to value those that come before us that show a high degree of integrity, detail, commitment, resources, the kinds of applications that Slate prepared and presented to my commission a couple of years ago only. As I reflected back on the applications that came before my commission, I've often said that the Slate application was probably one of the most rewarding applications. Yes, it was bold. It certainly was bold. It was detailed. It was focused on things that we hadn't typically seen, and I'm glad that we're seeing again. And for that, I looked at it very, very highly. But then I also I watched how this application unfolded after I left the commission, left the town, and I've seen that there's been very few, if any, problems. I've even searched the town. I've talked to the town, and I understand there's been no violations, no issues, no concerns. That speaks well. I mean, it's not like you're taking a chance on somebody that's coming in for the first time with an application. So again, this was a very bold application and one of my most rewarding ones. The other points that I want to make about this is that in terms of the education, I look at this in terms of an incubator for education. And I think anybody that's in North Haven should be proud to have such an institution that's doing what they're doing in the way that they're doing it. And the last thing that I wanted to point out was that I've also observed that both Julie, Jennifer, and other members of the staff at the Slate School have become tremendous stewards of the land, the buildings, and the resources that they've been a part of in that particular area. Everybody wants to have some unique aspect of a New England character in their own backyard. Oftentimes people don't want to have anything in their backyards, but when you think about wanting that unique aspect, what could be more unique or maybe just characteristic of a New England background than to have the modern schoolhouse that they're presenting. So again, I'm speaking in favor of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Ron Penton and have Joel Mastriani on deck.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Ron Penton, Penton. I reside at 132 Pool Road, where I've been with my family, a resident in North Haven, for 33 years. During that time, I've served on the Conservation Commission, the Inland Wetlands Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission, and with the North Haven Trail Association. I sat on the last application for the Slate Lower School. During that time, I listened to all the comments, read all the letters.
Excuse me, Ron. Ron, whoever's on that phone.
Yeah.
248, 203, 248. I don't know. 2552. Mute yourself. Sorry.
Okay. After listening to that application, I did vote to approve the school. Since then, and in preparation for this hearing, I've driven past the school, the lower school, many times, which is pretty hard to see unless you're looking for it, know where it is. And like Mark, I'm not aware of any of the potential problems that were raised ever having come to fruition. The school always appears very well kept and very quiet. Just as point of interest, my mother was a public school teacher. My daughter's a public school teacher, and all three of my children attended North Haven Public Schools, where they received, frankly, excellent educations. But I also believe people should have the choice in what type of education they want for their children. And I believe that a school with the curriculum that's offered at the Slate School can be of interest and benefit to some residents in North Haven. I think that a school like the Slate School benefits the town as a whole. I believe that the owners, as residents of the town and of the same neighborhood, have and will continue to be good stewards of both properties. Now, for this particular application, I listened to the entire presentation last month and the smaller presentation this month. I've had the opportunity to review the plans in detail. And for those of you who used to sit with me on the commission, you know what that means. I've walked the site, and taking all of that into consideration, I believe that the proposed school fits into the site well and will not dramatically change the appearance of or nature of the neighborhood. I'm therefore asking the commission to approve the application with whatever conditions you feel are appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Joel Mastriani and have Alicia Burr on deck.
Joel Mastriani, Mastrioianni, 11 Ridgewood Terrace, North Haven. Good evening, commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to speak in favor of this application. I'd like to begin just by sharing my thoughts on Slate School, which I've had the pleasure of touring, the lower school on Mansfield, and it's something that I would encourage everybody here to do. Tours and information sessions are open to neighbors as well as nature enthusiasts, and tour information is easily accessible on their website. So living in the neighborhood, I joined a tour, and I'm really glad that I did. And to keep my remarks brief, I'll mention just the few takeaways that I found meaningful. The story behind the design and the construction of the school was really fascinating. And there's a clear sense of collaboration between all members of the team, and seeing their work up close, you can really appreciate why it's award-winning. And it's also clear that so many of the people who had a hand in creating Slate School, they feel a connection to it. And they return to the classroom, discussing the school's design with the children, listening to their ideas for the next project. These folks take a lot of pride in their work, and they feel and act as if it's their neighborhood too. For 4 years, I served as a commissioner on Hamden's Planning and Zoning Commission, and applicants would present their designs to the commission and the public, obtain approval, and I was shocked at how many would return, always towards the end of the project, seeking approval for changes to the original design. And witnessing an application like Slate School deliver on even the smallest of details in their design was refreshing. And I'm confident that the same will happen upon the completion of 5100 Ridge Road. I also took away some new ideas on how I could help my children learn, and they came in handy during homeschooling. Being home during distance learning was an eye-opening experience, and as difficult as it was at times, I'm really glad that it happened. Teaching is not easy. And when I found myself struggling, I would think back to ideas Julie shared during that tour and ideas that I picked up from their website, which has an incredible amount of information available to the community. And lastly, just a remark on their environment. Over the last few years, I've really tried to be more environmentally conscious. I think I've always been somewhat mindful of the environment, but my now 13-year-old son has really inspired me over the years to learn more. And here as well, Slate School has been a great resource for me and quite inspirational. Really proving that you can have a beautiful landscape, a beautiful lawn without all the chemicals. You just need to learn how to do it, to understand the system's natural process. And again, the Slate School and everything that they have to offer from their site and their discussions has been instrumental. So again, I enthusiastically support Slate School's plans for the property at 5100 Ridge Road. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call Alicia Burr and have Mary Quinn Devine on deck. Is Alicia Burr on the call?
Alicia? Go to Mary Quinn.
Yep, I'll come back to Alicia. Right now is Mary Quinn Devine on the call.
Mary Quinn Devine? We got next there.
All right, I will come back to them. I will go to Andrea Nazat with Greg Arora on deck.
Hello, my name is Andrea Nazat. It's Nezat, and I live at 26 Dorrance Place, Hamden, Connecticut. First, I'd like to start by thanking the Planning and Zoning Commission for approving Slate School in 2017. I am one of the parents who followed Slate School when it was only an idea on Facebook. I commend the commission for having such vision to see what this school could be. You have impacted so many people's lives for the better, and I'm truly grateful to you. I have a son that attends the 3rd grade at Slate School. He has been there since the very beginning. Our experience with Slate School has been nothing but short of amazing. It has exceeded all of our expectations, and we've been consistently thrilled. When we moved to Connecticut in 2013, I'd been reading a lot about education and the current philosophies on what is the best mode for going forward to teach your child. Unanimously, all articles agreed the future of education was project-based learning, and those children would be the most prepared for the ever-changing world. As a family, we wanted one step further. We wanted a school that cared about the environment and would teach our children to be good stewards of the land. Neither of my children had attended school yet, so I was really excited to see what Connecticut had to offer. I looked at every school in my area and found there wasn't much difference between the public and private education philosophies, especially for the price you would pay for a private education. My pediatrician was the one who told me about Slate School, but at the time it was just an idea. My daughter went to Hamden Public School and loved it and thrived there. We sent my son when he was ready and realized immediately that this traditional style of learning was just not for him. Luckily, his Slate School was in the process of being built. My next thought was, how can we afford Slate School? One of my friends encouraged me and said, Slate School claims they are need blind. I thought, okay, I went through the process, and sure enough, they did give me enough financial aid so that I didn't have to make any tough choices of whether to feed my children or tend to their education. I have since learned that there is a statistic, 89% of the families receive significant financial aid and 45K less than $6,000 a year. I'm not sure there's any other private school that can claim these statistics. Slate School is committed to joyous learning. The learning style fosters an inquisitive child with sometimes seen from a parent's eye, almost effortless learning, especially compared to what I've watched my daughter grow through in grammar school. Slate School program also encourages the growth of a gentle souls who are kind, self-motivated, bursting with creativity and curiosity. My son personally is now living his best life. When he heard that there was a potential for an upper school, his heart just burst with joy. He is so excited. Slate School takes their education commitment one step further by supporting all communities with free tools and workshops for all who are interested. By approving Slate School back in 2017, you have created a positive ripple effect locally and worldwide in the education community. I can't think of any other school that makes that commitment. I am not an educator, but I personally benefited from listening to the amazing speakers talk about education in the Slate School Idea Labs. One of the first speakers back when the Idea Lab was called Third Thursday was the founder of Dean's Beans Coffee, a company in Massachusetts. Dean Kuhn, an incredible speaker, he founded Dean's Beans Company in 1993 after working as an environmental and indigenous rights lawyer. He set out to prove that nonprofit businesses could create meaningful change through ethical business practices rooted in respect for the earth, the farmer, its coworkers, and the consumer. I was so blessed to hear him speak. He inspired me so incredibly that night listening to him. It is these shifts in people's consciousness that the school facilitates and that positively affects the local community as well as the worldwide community. I have a preservation background, and in my experience, the greenest building is the one that is already built. Not only is Slate School saving a building from the landfill, they are saving a piece of North Haven's history by restoring that church. I love that Slate School's team saw the vision for the building as the perfect education site and will bring that building back into use. When we lived in New Orleans, there were so many schools in beautiful neighborhoods. The schools only improved the neighborhoods, attracted people to live there, and even if their children didn't attend schools. I would love to live in a neighborhood with either of the Slate School sites. Slate School is 100% committed to the environment. It is one of the most environmentally schools in the country and teaches its children a deep respect for nature. Even the building is green, no off-gassing of any materials that would pollute its surrounding areas or the people inside of it. Even the lighting is intelligent. It changes during the day, so there is no eye strain. The children are immersed in the Manfield Road campus, gardening, composting, and exploring the woods. The Manfield campus is designed to maintain healthy habitats for native plants, insects, and animals, as well as fitting in so beautifully to its North Haven neighborhood. The new campus, I know, will do the same. The last few weeks, when the streets around the school were being paved, I was rerouted by the new school site. I was disheartened to see pesticide flags twice in Mr. DeSimone's yard at 5200 Ridge Road. Mr. DeSimone is one of the neighbors against Slate Upper School because he is worried about ruining the wetlands. Mr. DeSimone is living on the same wetlands and currently ruining it by spraying hazardous chemicals on his property and damaging the natural habitat. These chemicals are dangerous to living things and require a warning flag for adults, children, and animals so they are not exposed. These are the same chemicals that are killing the bees, fireflies, toads, frogs, chipmunks, and many more animals. It certainly raises a question about Mr. DeSimone's concerns about the impact to the wetlands and watercourses. Why is he using pesticides on his property which contain these wetlands? Also, there's another neighbor using pesticides across the street. She also is one of the neighbors who claims to care deeply about these wetlands. Sometimes actions speak louder than words. In contrast, Slate School, as I have said, is one of the most environmentally friendly schools in the country, and Slate School never uses synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, or herbicides. This is true at Slate School's current campus on Mansfield Road and in the proposed upper school campus on Ridge Road. Slate School always works to protect its neighborhood and will work to protect the new neighborhood now. I wish that the residents against the creation of the upper school would come and take a tour of the lower school and talk to Jennifer and Julie and have their fears erased. I'm so excited for Slate Upper School to be built at 5100 Ridge Road in North Haven. In fact, I cannot imagine it not happening. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next, I'd like to call Greg Arora with Tom Lambert on deck. Before I do that, we do have a lot of people that want to speak in favor of this application tonight. I have a long list I'm trying to get through. So if people in favor can just try to be conscious of the time limit and try to limit their remarks to 1 to 3 minutes so we can give everybody a chance who wants to speak tonight. Thank you.
Please do that. Pay attention to the time, because I'm going to cut you off there. It's getting too long. Getting too long. We have too many people. 1 to 3 minutes. Please try to get it in there. Okay.
Next, I call Greg Arora with Tom Lambert on deck.
Hello, how you doing? I will try and make up for some of that time and keep this short. My name is Greg Arora, last name Aurora. I reside at 144 South New Road in Hamden. I own A+ Landscape and Design, a local company here in Hamden. We take care of the current school up on Mansfield Road. I would like to take a few points that Andrea made as far as how environmentally friendly this school is. Amongst all the properties that we work on, I have never experienced such an environmental property. Everything down to no chemicals, no pesticides. I'm sure a lot of people at home, when they're doing their gardens, use preen to try and prevent weeds. There is no such of that being used. There's no fertilizers. The mulches that we use are 100% dye-free, no chemicals in them. There is no lead in any of the topsoil we use. We do not put ice melt down during the ice or snow times. There's no leaf blowers being used. We actually use an electric lawnmower on a lot of areas to try and keep the noise pollution down. I have 2 young kids personally myself, and I hope one day that they will also attend the Slate School when they are old enough. I feel the philosophy about being so environmentally friendly is very important. I fully support the Slate School, and I hope it passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Tom Lambert and have Ellie Mountcastle on deck.
Thank you and good evening, commissioners. My name is Thomas Lambert, Lambert. I reside at 2271 Ridge Road, North Haven. My family and I have lived in North Haven for over 30 years and in the Blue Hills area of North Haven at 2271 Ridge Road for over 21 years. We continue to hear of the Blue Hills Association, and I would think that an official association is open to everyone in the community, not just those who agree with their views. As longtime residents in this area, I want to be very clear that this small band of people do not represent our household views and do not speak on our behalf concerning our community values, and more specifically, the fact that we support the Slate Upper School as we did in 2007 of the Slate School. When the Slate School was being proposed, my wife and I attended every meeting with an open mind and listened to both sides of the discussions. As this time passed, we began to understand the purpose and educational value of the school and its methods of teaching. We felt it was important for us to know specifically how the school would be constructed and exactly how the children would be taught, since it became obvious that this was to be a very different way of teaching from the norm our generation was used to. We took the opportunity to meet with Jennifer and Alexander Clark on several occasions to discuss our concerns and get a better understanding of the educational process as it pertains to learning the core subjects as well as environmental studies. They were extremely gracious and always made time to speak with us at length. As the Slate School was being built, we drove by the property and watched from a distance the placement of the buildings and how it impacted the surrounding neighborhood. We found that the Clarks, without question, stayed true to their words as how beautiful and unobtrusive the Slate School is to the area and how dedicated to the preservation of the environment it is. After the Slate School was open, we then took the opportunity to attend numerous seminars that were held in the evening at the school and to meet head of school Julie Mountcastle. One of the first seminars we attended was a meet and greet with contractors that actually built the school. From the framers to the landscapers, all had a deep, specific understanding of the environmental materials to be used and to make the school blend into the neighborhood. Again, the Clarks stood behind their word and accomplished what they said they would do. The insulation contractor was of particular interest to me. The insulation to be used in the walls was a very specific, environmentally friendly product. When the product arrived from the manufacturer, it was not what was ordered, but almost as good. That was not good enough. The shipment was refused and the manufacturer needed to FedEx overnight the correct insulation so the construction could stay on schedule. Just another example of the Clarks keeping their word and not settling for good enough where the Slate School is concerned. We further, on more than one occasion, spoke with Julie Mountcastle, head of school, as to her qualifications and manner of teaching as it related to the Slate School. We were most impressed with her educational background and methods of this new era of teaching that we certainly were not familiar with or accustomed to. After a thorough examination of her approach to educating these young minds, we were very comfortable that the students attending the Slate School were getting the very best education that any school could provide, both academically as well as studies related to the environment. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting and being interviewed by a student who attends the Slate School. He was working on a project and needed some information in an area that I had some expertise in. This young boy was very well organized going into our meeting, took notes, and was able to ask follow-up questions as our discussions progressed. Again, the quality of education the students at Slate School are getting is extremely impressive. Now that the Slate School has been open and running smoothly, it is obvious to all that the Slate Upper School at 5100 Ridge Road will be of the same high quality of academic and environmental education as the Slate School. Seeing the proposals, the Slate Upper School would undoubtedly fit into the landscape of the neighborhood and to be an asset to the town and most importantly to the students that attend. I want to end with this thought to all on this board as well as the Inland Wetlands Commission. I know of at least one student who presently lives in North Haven. Other students may choose to reside in North Haven as adults in the future. What I am sure of is that the Slate School and the Slate Upper School are educating young minds to be stewards of the environment, live with the environment, live within the environment, and learn how to protect the environment for their and future generations. So in closing, as you committee members who currently make up this board that govern development of the town, you should ask yourself these questions. When the time comes for you to step down as committee members, who do you want to take your seat? Shouldn't it be someone who has the educational background to carry on the tradition of the town and protect the environment of North Haven that we have all come to love as residents? I think the answer is clear. Slate Upper School at 5100 Ridge Road needs to be developed so we'll have future committee members to continue to protect what you and those before you have created for our town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next,
Can you hear me, Ken?
I can hear you, yes.
You can hear me. We got to be more alert of the time. We're taking too much time. 2 or 3 minutes over on each one of these people is just too much. 1 to 3 minutes, you got to do something. Step in, Tim. Okay. I don't want to do that. You asked to do it.
As a reminder, people try to keep your comments as limited as possible. At this point, I'd like to call Ellie Mountcastle and have Katie Kessler-Rink on deck.
Hello, my name is Ellie Mountcastle. That's Mountcastle. And I'm currently in my apartment on campus at DeSales University in Center Valley, Pennsylvania. But my home is 109 Ridgewood Avenue in North Haven, Connecticut. Here at DeSales, I'm a senior Catholic theology and marriage and family studies double major. And within my learning here, I've been introduced to brilliant minds like G.K. Chesterton and C.S. Lewis and Hans Urs von Balthasar and St. John Paul II. And it's interesting that they almost all seem to be in agreement on the value and the goodness of authentic childhood experiences grounded in wonder at the world and the human person. Socrates famously said that wisdom begins in wonder. I've been to Slate School many times now. I've spent time with the students there. I've learned with them. I've sung with them, explored with them. They're incredible little humans whose capacity to wonder is astounding. Slate School's method of curiosity-based learning fosters this wonder and gives the child the confidence to be curious. While I'm so grateful for the education I received at North Haven High School, I know that I would have benefited greatly from what the Slate Upper School is seeking to offer. I struggled through my schooling with, learning in this cookie cutter way, learning audibly. I really struggled with that. And I longed to study the things that moved my heart, the things that just made me want to sing, And so I think that Slate School really is fostering this desire in young children to study the things that move their heart. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I want to go back to this wonder idea before I finish. Wonder at ordinary things breeds gratefulness. And don't we want just, some grateful human beings walking around in North Haven? I think I definitely do. And I think that gratefulness is just the most beautiful thing that we can have in this world, and it's gonna change the world. So Slate School is absolutely worthwhile, and I urge the commission to move forward with this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Arora.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Katie Kessler-Rinnick, followed by Dan Plug.
Hi, my name is Katie Kessler-Rink. The last name is Kessler-Rinck, and I am happy to say that I live at 26 Cromwell Road in North Haven. I am thrilled to be here to share my full support for the building of Slate's Upper School in North Haven. I learned a good deal from April's P&Z meeting, and I'm enjoying hearing everyone tonight. Many of you were critical in approving Slate School's lower school, and I want to pass on my sincerest gratitude because your decision helped change my life and the lives of many families that are on this call tonight. Slate School has quickly become the center of my life. I work there. I'm Slate School's curator. I'm also the mother of a 5-year-old, Max, who is about to finish his kindergarten year, and a 3-year-old, Wyatt, who can't wait to join his brother at Slate School. Because of this amazing school, we are now officially North Haven residents as of the past couple weeks. We loved our home in Hamden, Spring Glen neighborhood. But we knew we needed the opportunity to be even closer to the school that matters so much to us. Having lived in New York City and then New Haven and then Hamden, we had never had the opportunity to visit North Haven and see all that it has to offer until we fell in love with Slate School. And now we're quickly discovering restaurants and shops and streets to walk on in North Haven in our new home. And the idea that we would have an upper school in this town is really what sealed the deal and made us know that we had to become North Haven residents. Now, I received my master's in education at Bank Street College in New York City. I've been a teacher in private and public settings for nearly 14 years and worked with teachers in diverse environments throughout that time. So I can say with a solid basis for thoughtful comparison that Slate School is unique and incredibly special. It's a school that teachers, children, and families dream of finding. It's where children love to grow, teachers love to grow. Our 2nd and 3rd graders, when it comes to be 3 o'clock at the end of the day, they ask their teachers, "Have you figured out a way to turn back time?" Because they don't want the day to end. This is gold. This is what every school and teacher wants for their children, is to love learning that much. And this needs to continue for our older children. We would be hard pressed to find a school in the country that is like Slate's upper school. And the fact that it could be here in North Haven, in my new home, is incredibly meaningful to me. So thank you for putting all of your hearts and minds and souls into the thinking that you're going to be doing about this decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call Dan Plug, followed by Evgenia Fedotova.
Hi, my name is Dan Flug. It's spelled P as in Peter, F as in Fred, L-U-G. I live in Easton. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the P&Z Commission. I want to start off first by saying thank you for approving the Slate School in 2017. My daughter, Katie, currently attends kindergarten at Slate School, and I also have 2 younger children who my wife and I plan to send to Slate School in the future as well. I live in Easton, which is 26 miles away from North Haven. The drive is about 1 hour round trip, which we do twice a day, so that our daughter can attend this amazing school. As you heard already tonight, Slate School provides nature-based, curiosity-driven learning that is truly one of a kind. Like Katie Kessler-Rink, who testified just before me, and a number of other families in Slate School's community, we are looking to move to North Haven because Slate School is planning to offer K through 12. My wife and I have already been actively viewing homes in town. I will say there's not too much housing inventory in North Haven currently. We're looking for a 4-bedroom if you happen to know anyone. But we are looking for a home to lay roots once we know that Slate Upper School is confirmed by the P&Z Commission. We hope that you approve the plan so that our children can continue to receive an exceptional education for years to come. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Dan. Could you give me your address, Dan?
I'm at 25 Palmer Place in Easton, Connecticut.
Easton, okay.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Evgenia Fedotova, followed by Dale Croup.
Hi, my name is Evgenia Fedotova. The last name is Fedotova. I reside at 1039 Racebrook Road in Woodbridge. First, I would like to thank the Commission for approving the Lower Slate School, and also thank you for the opportunity to speak about the Slate School today. We have 2 children, and one of them is in 2nd grade at Slate School, and another one is expected to start Slate School next year. As we currently live in Woodbridge, we have been commuting daily for the past 3 academic years to Slate School at 17 minutes one way and 17 minutes back, twice a day. We're very excited that Slate School is planning to open an upper school. My husband and I have made the decision to move to North Haven. Currently, we are looking to purchase a house in North Haven. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take since everyone is looking to purchase a house there. So we believe that Slate School would play an important role in strengthening North Haven's community. And we would like to be a part of community like this. Slate School provides not only excellent education to our children, but also creates a great platform that can be used to facilitate discussions on the broad spectrum, from curiosity-driven education to sustainability and current environmental issues. Really, Slate School is much more than just a school. I believe that it will greatly contribute to the North Haven's community in many different ways. And our kids at Slate School, they're already very excited to go to upper school. Thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Dale Croup, followed by Jen Gehring.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Dale Croup, K-R-O-O-P. I live at 161 Thornton Street in Hamden. Tonight, of course, I'm very happy to speak in favor of Upper State School. And I attended the first hearing, and I was very impressed with the environmental design in particular of the school. I'm going to talk a little bit and very briefly, Mr. Chair, as from the economic development point of view. I was most recently the Economic Development Director in Hamden. I retired in November, but I continue to work around the state and have been in the field for 35 years. So I witnessed many projects that were new to communities where there are lots of questions and they generally work out very well. So as somebody involved in economic development, I can't stress enough how important it is for business retention and business attraction to have not only a good public school system, but also options for innovative schools like Slate. All business owners who are parents and their employees want to give their children the best chance for success in today's world. That's why the Slate School, with its focus on creative environmental learning, should be approved. It will build on the already successful economic development program in North Haven, which of course I'm a fan of, and it's a current public school, and it builds on the success, of course, of the other Slate schools. So I appreciate the opportunity to support it. I hope that you approve it. It will be good for business for the town of North Haven. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I've been keeping a stopwatch of the speakers. Everybody seems to be doing a pretty good job of staying within the 3-minute allotment. But what if it would be okay if I gave them like a warning after 2 minutes so that they kind of know where they're going to be?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, thank you. All right, next I'd like to call Jen Gehring, followed by Danielle Giannetti.
Hi, yes, my name is Jennifer Gearing. It's Giering. I definitely support the development of the Upper Slate School. I live at 74 Mowry Street. That's Mowry, Mowry Street. We have been a resident here for almost 19 years. My children are in 7th and 5th grade. They both went to Ridge Road Elementary School through the ID program, which is the integrated day program. The reason why I love Slate School, and I have been there to visit, is because the education is set up very much like the ID program, but obviously more and grander and within the environment. I've known Julie Mountcastle for many years because I was obviously a parent at Ridge Road School and also PTA president for years. So I was able to work with her through the education and also PTA involved activities. And I love her and she's wonderful. And so I completely support her as head teacher. I support the development of the schools and also the extension of the elementary into middle and high school. I love the alternative education opportunities and believe that they offer that. And so I support it for the town and for education in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call Danielle Giannetti, followed by John Gearing.
Hello. Oops, sorry. I would also like to say that I am in full support of the Slate School.
Could you state your name and address,
my child is
please?
actually at a different school, the Foot School, which is an independent school.
Hi,
which
hi.
I also am
Can we get your name and address, please?
But I
Danielle?
also realize that
Can we just get your name and address for the record?
what they're doing right now is creating
Hello, can we get your name and address? Name.
Oh, sorry.
Start this thing off. Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Sorry about that. My name is Danielle Giannetti, Ginnetti. I live at 73 Whitney Ridge Terrace in North Haven, Connecticut. We've only actually lived here for 3 years, almost on 4. But I do love this community and I do love what the Slate School is doing for the town. I am full support of what they've done. I've taken a tour of the campus and also seen the way that they have integrated their school with the environment. So last month, I did hear people say that they thought that was going to bring their house values down, that they didn't want to see it. I will go on record to say that I think it's a beautiful thing. I am also involved in another independent school in New Haven, Foot School. I was the PTC president for many years, and I totally believe in this type of learning for children. I think it is amazing, and I think that is, for some people, what their children need. And I love that North Haven is going to have that. I love that North Haven is going to give that opportunity. I think it will bring our property values up. I think that the way that Jennifer had
2 minutes right now.
That's all. Okay, that's all I have to say. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Love you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right, next I'd like to call John Gehring, followed by Stephen Mara.
George is on, and there's no John.
Hi, is John Gehring on the call? If there's no John Gehring, I'd like to move on to Stephen Mara.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Mara of 380 Mansfield Road. That's Mara, M-A-R-R-A. It's about a half a mile between the existing Slate School and about 3/4 of a mile from the proposed Upper Slate School. So I basically live equidistant from both locations, and it's my pleasure to speak on behalf of the Upper School. This current school has been a great addition to the neighborhood. It's architecturally and aesthetically very appealing. It fits the surrounding environment and neighborhood. It preserved over 20 acres of open space and the natural habitat. It provides numerous opportunities for the neighborhood and the broader community. I have 2 high school age children. My daughter is a senior and my son is a freshman. They both attend North Haven School. And prior to COVID, both were volunteering, at the Slate School. In fact, my son was in middle school at the time he was initially volunteering. Both my kids very much enjoyed the opportunity and appreciate their experiences at the school. My daughter is off to college this fall to pursue a career as an elementary school teacher. And volunteering at the school just solidified her desire to become a teacher. My point in sharing this is to illustrate the school's openness, its welcoming atmosphere and culture, as well as the opportunity the school presents for the broader community. When the current school was being considered, I went to every meeting, beginning with the first neighborhood awareness meeting that was held at the church where the upper school is being proposed to be built. And admittedly, I went first as a concerned neighbor. But after that first meeting and meeting the Clarks and learning about the school, I went to every meeting thereafter, including the 3 or 4 at the Planning and Zoning Committee meetings at the community center. And I became a firm supporter of the school. Throughout the entire process for the current school, there were numerous concerns expressed by neighbors in differing groups. And at the time, some of those concerns seemed valid. The general uncertainty of the school and the neighborhood, the potential for added cars, while frankly, some other concerns just were a bit extreme. One person speculated that the Clarks would use their own personal house as a gym for the school.
We're at 2 minutes right now.
Yep. In my experience, none of the concerns expressed have come through. I run, walk, bike in the neighborhood, and with COVID, I do them at all times during the day and have not seen any increase in cars or traffic. The only increase in vehicles I really notice are the Amazon, FedEx, and UPS delivery trucks. The Slate School has preserved the neighborhood as well as the natural habitat. I'd like to leave the committee with this. I've gotten to know the Clarks and Julie Mountcastle personally. They're people of their word. They care about the town, the environment, and our neighborhood. And they've done exactly what they've said they do at the current school, and I'm certain they'll do the same at the upper school. The upper school will be a welcome addition to the neighborhood, as well as the broader North Haven community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call George Gehring, followed by Bob Labanara. George Gehring.
So unfortunately, I think George had to go back to work.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
So he may not be speaking, but he's supportive of it. He's my husband.
And who is just speaking?
Who is this?
I can't hear you.
Okay, who was speaking with?
Who is George's wife?
Jennifer.
Jennifer Gehring. Thank you.
Gehring. Geiering.
Thank you.
And he's fully in support. He's a business owner in town. supports the business part and education, and yes, so thank you.
All right, so next I'd like to call Bob Labanera, followed by Jim Dorney.
That was delightful.
Thank you, Attorney Lee. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Point of personal privilege. My name is Bob Labanera, L-A-B as in boy, A-N-A-R-A. I reside at 130 Millbrook Road in North Haven. I am proud to be a lifelong resident of North Haven, Connecticut, born and raised off of Shulman Avenue, and now again in Millbrook Road. I've also represented the town of North Haven and other cities and towns in Connecticut through the Conference of Municipalities for many years. I'm just going to be candid. You have before you, Commission, a gift, an absolute gift. I will challenge you to show me an application with the due diligence, the size and scale, the quality of materials and landscaping, the respect for the environment that's before you today and last meeting that the applicants have presented. Towns, quite frankly, are begging for proposals like this. You heard the gentleman from Easton that is looking to move here. You heard other families that are talking about living here and moving here because of this school. So I would encourage you to support this from that perspective. The second point I want to make is the concerns. I was in the rec center gym in 2017. I heard the manufactured panic and the concerns from others, which were proven unfounded. To be quite honest with you, the traffic, the safety, and everything else, it's just unproven. The what ifs are now known, and so we have what before you is a committed and embedded family in the community that lives between the upper school and the middle school, raising their children as well. And so that again is a gift. And finally, I want to just leave with you one word is perspective. Members of the commission have talked about certain things in comparison to other schools, just reminding the commission that this is unmatched in terms of the size and scale of this school. So we're talking about 32 students right now at the lower school, only a handful of students the next couple of years at the upper school. So we're talking about the impact of the community, the view sheds, the quality and the landscaping. What is the view now? If you're concerned, tell me what the view is now of the neighboring communities, and what will the view soon be because of the school? It is vastly improved. What could be the view if you were to develop this land from Quinnipiac or from a developer who, make no mistake, will put 3 houses on this property? So with that said, I want to urge the commission to support this proposal. Again, they're embedded in the community. They are a known entity, and they're a valued member of this town. So I urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call Jim Dorney, followed by Joellen Wickwire.
Jim Doherty's my husband. He had to step away. I could take a slot and see if he could do it later. But
Certainly. Can you just give your name for
Sure.
the record?
Great. Thank you. My name is Liz Dorney, Dorney, and I'm from Milford, Connecticut. Our daughter began attending Slate School last year and is currently in 2nd grade. After listening to the entire Slate School Planning and Zoning meeting in April, I see the upper school plans for 5100 Ridge Road as a thoughtful reimagining of a currently unused but beautiful property, and fully believe the lower school's demonstrated environmental stewardship will follow to this new school location. Our daughter's school journey began at a nature-based preschool in Ansonia, and following that, she attended 1 year of public school kindergarten in Milford. The next year, we made a change to Slate School to allow our daughter to experience curiosity-based learning in a mixed age class where nature could play a central role. She's supported with kindness and care at Slate, where her interests lead the way, and her teachers and the staff take great care to make learning relevant and meaningful to her particular wonderings. I treasure this kind of individualized experience for creative and critical thinking and want to see it continue to thrive and grow in the same supportive environment for grades 7 through 12. At Slate, I see our daughter in tune and inspired by the natural world around her and challenged to open her mind and eyes to new ways of thinking. She loves attending this school and arrives there with a skip in her step each morning. She does, however, have a 30-minute commute to school each day. Fortunately, there are multiple Slate families from Milford, and we've been able to carpool since day one. Every time I drive onto Lower School campus, I'm struck by how the care and intention that has been designed into the buildings and grounds feels completely in sync with the same thoughtful approach within their classrooms. Lastly, I'd like to share my admiration for Slate's mission to change the landscape of education. I encourage the commission to view the archive panels and workshops on the school's website. In this digital format, Slate is able to facilitate conversations on collaboration, creativity, and innovation to connect both purpose and people well beyond its own school walls and nearby community. I have no doubt this small but ambitious school in North Haven will continue to listen and contribute as they become increasingly recognized worldwide as thought leaders within the education community. I support Slate's upper school campus proposal, and I am truly grateful to North Haven for providing the current home to this visionary place of learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Joe Ellen Wickwire, followed by Bruce Dittman.
Good evening. My name is Joellen Wickwire, W-I-C-K-W-I-R-E. I reside at 78 Ridgewood Avenue in North Haven. My husband and I have lived here in North Haven for 18 years. And I must say, it's probably one of the best decisions we ever made to move to North Haven. We love the community. And I just find that North Haven is a very solid community that really values families and children. And when I look at the idea that Slate School made the decision to develop their lower school and now are looking to develop an upper school, I think they are very visionary in their focus of looking at the community. I'm a retired special education teacher. And so I can't talk about lights and landscaping, but I can say that the model that they use with responsive classroom, with regard to making it very student-centered and doing the social and emotional learning for children is really at the forefront of education. They are developing lifelong learners. And I say kudos to the administrators and the teachers who day in and day out devote themselves to the children and their mission. And I'm very impressed with the number of young families who spoke this evening and are passionate about what they want for their children. So I'm in full support of the application for the upper school. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I would call Bruce Dittman, followed by Ed Williams.
Thank you, Commissioners. Bruce Dittman, D-I-T-M-A-N, 45 Del Sol Road in Hamden, near Mount Carmel. I just want to give my unqualified support of this application for the upper school. I'm not going to speak to the educational qualities of the school, which are, to my knowledge, unimpeachable. And I think everyone else has done a better job. And while I'm not a direct neighbor of the proposed site for the upper school, I wish I was. I can't imagine someone taking more care, making a greater investment in the look, feel, and treatment of the land that is so important to all of us. I would consider myself blessed to have a neighbor who cared so much about not just the height and the sight lines of created by the trees that they're planting, but the care of those plantings, the uncompromising approach to the environment and to the land that we all share, and also to the preservation of what is now a cherished but abandoned property. So honestly, in my 5th hour of these hearings of this, I am only more in support. And again, just to be clear, I want to offer my unqualified support of this proposal. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Ed Williams, followed by David Starkey.
How you doing? My name is Edward Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S, and I reside at 12 Hunting Ridge in Hamden, Connecticut. Thank you guys first for having me on here, and I want to thank the board, the P&Z board, for approving the first Slate school, lower school. I have currently 2 young boys that are attending there. My first son has been attending there from the time the school is opened. And my wife is an educator. Education has been a priority in our family from the get-go. My kids were at a Montessori school before, and we really were lost for where they were going to go next. And we came across something that Slate School was just an idea. And the more we heard about it, the more excited we were. And it's been an absolute blessing for our children. I will have a third son attending Slate School in the fall. So it just shows how much we really are into the school, what it's meant for our family. It's been a game changer for our family. You know, our kids love learning. They love going to school, and they come home excited with new ideas. And we wanted something that would get them outdoors and not be in a traditional setting. And, you know, one of the beautiful things is we pull up to the school and there are deer outside and different kinds of animals. And it just talks about, it speaks to how well they've taken care of the environment itself. And for my family, we pass the new location twice a day. And every time we pass, my kids are excited about the project that they're going to do in that church building, what it's going to look like, the kind of learning that's going to take place in it. And it's something that is a delight every time we pass to go to school and come back. So I'm in support of it. I'm really excited and hope that you guys do pass that, because it gives our family hope for what the next step is for our children. I have 4 boys, and we plan on all 4 of our boys attending Slate schools. So we're really excited about the opportunity to see them continue to have the environment that they fostered to learn. And we are in full support of it. It's been a wonderful community. We love the families. We love everyone that's actually, spent quality time with our kids. And we do hope this is actually passed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Next, I'd call David Starkey, followed by Nicole Casbaro.
Hello, this is David Starkey, and I live at 460 Central Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut. And I have a 7-year-old daughter that attends Slate Lower School. And we are absolutely in full support of the upper school. The day we told her that this school was going to be built, she was just so excited by the fact that she would be able to continue at Slate School with her friends and with the educational system that they've built. It has just been a wonderful idea. One of the first things she wanted to do was drive to the new location to see it. Her and I went there and we looked at it, and she was just so excited by the fact that this school would be built. And looking at what I've seen at both Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, it is just going to be a wonderful location and fit into the area very well. They've designed it so beautifully. We're reusing a building instead of destroying a building, which is an amazing thing to do. It's so important. One of the 3 R's, reuse, is such an important idea. And it's one of the many ideas that they teach the students at Slate School. I love the idea of the environmentalism there and the excitement my daughter has from being at that school, and just amazingly excited every day to go and come home and talk about the day and what she's done there. And I want to see that continue in the upper school, and I know that it will. And just to really finish up is really the style of teaching and education they are presenting there can be a model for this nation, including public schools. It is a hands-on learning experience where these kids truly enjoy learning.
We're at 2 minutes.
And I will finish up there. I thank the commissioners for looking at this proposal, and please do approve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right,
Next, I'd call Nicole Casbaro, followed by Donna Levine.
Hi, I'm Nicole Casbaro. Do you need me to spell my last name?
Yes.
Casbaro.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, I'm a resident of Hamden, and I'm also a pediatric nurse practitioner, and I was the former nurse consultant for Slate School. I was involved in Slate from its early inception, helped to write a lot of the protocols for health and safety. And because of that, I'm well aware of the health and environmental intentions that Slate School considers in its mission and values. As a nature-based school, Slate is the most environmentally and consciously constructed school in Connecticut. Every detail of this school is thoughtfully considered. I mean, from the ventilation systems, the choice of wood on the playground, to the types of crayons and markers that they use in the classroom. As a pediatric healthcare professional, I would love to see more schools adopt and incorporate practices and ideals like Slate School. In my practice, I see so many kids disconnected from nature, attached to screens, and pressured to perform on meaningless standardized tests. Slate's approach to environmental stewardship and child-driven nature-based learning makes it a flagship school that I think North Haven and our area can be proud of. I would love to see it grow into a secondary school. I think it's a natural extension for it to have grades 7 through 12. And I believe that the school's approach is destined to nurture future visionaries and innovators. I said this in my letter to the zoning committee, and I just want to say it again. You know, I think that just like New Haven has Hopkins, North Haven is going to be able to boast someday about having a school like Slate in their town, and being home to one of the most sustainable project-based campuses in the country. So I think it would be a lost opportunity not to approve this school.
Thank you. Next, I'd call Donna Levine, followed by Jane Nowasadko.
Hi, yes, this is Donna Levine. It's Levine. I live at 23 LeGrand Road in North Haven in the Blue Hills neighborhood. My husband and I moved here about 14 years ago from New Haven, in large part because of what we then considered enlightened zoning policies. We did some surveying. I have a professional home office with a couple of employees, and North Haven was the only town in the area that did allow employees in the house. And we did find the right house to do that. And we've been here ever since. I think we've been good citizens contributing to the town. I've been on the Commission on Aging. When I was on the board of the South Central Connecticut Agency on Aging, I pushed to get them moved here, which has been good for the town. So I think all in all, those good zoning policies, which during COVID proved to be incredibly good zoning policies to be able to have a home office, were really good for the town. As I said, we moved from New Haven. We educated our kids in New Haven, and they all had choices. We had private schools, public schools. They all went to, each of the three of our grown children went to a variety of schools as it suited them at the time. And when the original Slate School was proposed, and so many North Haven residents came out in opposition, I was really dismayed, because I did think of it as an enlightened town that was open to new ideas. And of course, I was very pleased. I participated in all of those doings and was very pleased when the school was approved. And I've been very pleased to see how it's been true to all of its promises. I believe that a high school, a Slate upper school, would be an additional asset to North Haven, and also open it up to diversity of learning, which children should have choices, parents should have choices. And I also think it's particularly fitting that the school be located where we first heard the announcement of Slate School, in what was then the dilapidated church, and will hopefully soon be a very well-developed, lovely property for the town.
Thank you. Next, I would like to have Jane Nowasadka, followed by Sheila Maturo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Nowasadko. And like Nancy, no, Tim, I'm very impressed by the pronunciation. and that's spelled N as in Nancy, OWOSADKO. like Sam, A like Apple, D like David, K-O. And I live at 1030 Hartford Turnpike in North Haven. I'm very pleased to be here this evening, and I want to show my full support of the Slate Upper School on Ridge Road. I think the outcome of the Slate School's current campus at 124 Mansfield Road should extinguish anyone's concerns about the new school, destroying the rural character and tranquility of the neighborhood. The current Slate School is a wildlife sanctuary. I ride my bike over there all the time, and I see birdhouses in the field, wild turkeys, deer, birds, eagles, hawks. It's a park-like environment, and one can barely see the school from the road, so it's very understated. Any project that Jennifer Staple Clark aspires to is done with great care, extraordinary vision, creativity, and potential for our youth. This new school will have the same level of excellence to its surroundings as the current Slate School, unparalleled architectural landscape design, a park-like environment, sustainable practices, no toxic crumb rubber. This is an exceptional opportunity for our community for the next generation, and it will bring quality educational opportunities, and I'm flummoxed by any opposition. Would opposition rather have a developer build a residential community, round-the-clock activity, lawnmowers, snow blowers, cars coming and going? We have a great example in the first Slate School, which has received critical acclaim through its innovative approach to education and environmental sustainability. And I just have to add, as someone earlier had mentioned that members of the opposition have concerns about the wetlands, but are using pesticides on their lawns, which abut the wetlands. And that was just really hard for me to give any validity to their concerns about the wetland.
2 minutes.
Such a contradiction. It's such an incredibly weak argument. So I just want to, again, say that I fully support the application of the Slate Upper School, and I hope the community will embrace this as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call Sheila Maturo, followed by Jeff Kenny.
Who's Sheila?
Yes.
Sheila.
Hi, I'm Sheila Brantley, Brantley. My husband is Maturo. I kept my maiden name. I live at 42 Rolfe Road, Hamden, Connecticut, and I'm here to support the school's plan at Ridge Road. I'm a 35-year-old, I wish, 35 years retired teaching and consultant from New Haven. And I had the honor for 20 years to work with Dr. James Comer from the Yale School Development Program. My experience helps me to understand the core values of Slate School and its impact on children and parents from a developmental, social, and emotional and environmental perspective. The Slate School has proven its commitment to the community and protection of the environment in the Mansfield Road School. Furthermore, longstanding research suggests that children learn best in dynamic outdoor learning environments, project-based, following their curiosity and sense of collaborative exploration. The new school will support 21st century skills of collaboration, creativity, in adolescence while providing them an opportunity to have meaning and purpose in their education. While serving as a steward for the environment, we need those children for the future. I trust the Slate School and its faculty in the care of the whole child and adolescent and ask for your support to offer children and parents a choice for what's best for their individual child. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call Jeff Kenny, followed by Alicia Burr.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kenny, Kenney, North Haven resident. I've lived for 30 years at 20 Town Line Road. My daughter Grace, who grew up in town and graduated from North Haven High School, is a teacher at Slate School and their environmentalist. I think she's lucky to have this job. They treat the staff very well. And the school offers really a terrific and a distinctive education. I've seen bits of it and I've been really impressed. Clearly the school, lower school, is a great asset for the town. Now, Grace was one of the first two people hired. And I was struck by the fact that of the first two people hired, one was the environmentalist. This shows how important environmental matters are to the school, to their educational program, to their design of buildings and the grounds, and to their many relationships with the surroundings. I think being good neighbors and developing responsibly is kind of baked into their DNA. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
very much.
Next, I'd like to call Alicia Burr, followed by Sid Levine.
Hi, my name's Alicia Burr, B-U-R-R. I live at 41 Kings Highway, and I abut the Slate School currently. I have to say, first, I walk by there every day, all times a day. There's never a lot of traffic. The grounds are aesthetically beautiful. They've only enhanced the neighborhood. I think it would be a great spot where that church is, which is an eyesore, that's been an eyesore for a long time. They've done a great job. Having a different school-based theory should only enhance the town, especially a good example, COVID during this time. I feel the public school system really let us down. My kids are currently in 8th grade, and you know, I'm leaving the public system and going to private now, just because of what's happened. The Slate School, with their theory, their education base, I think they've done a great job. They're really invested in this town, and I scratch my head wondering why we're having such difficulty just letting them go ahead, because just take a ride by the elementary school and it's been phenomenal. And living right behind there, people talked about traffic issues and things like that. It's not even a question in my mind. So I am in full support of this. I hope it passes. And I think it would be great for the town to have a different type of school system, not just a public school system. And that's all I really have to say.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Next, I would like to call Sid
Sid.
Levine, followed by Steve Fitzgerald.
Hi, this is Sid Levine from 23 LeGrand Road in North Haven. And we are in the Blue Hills neighborhood. And I just wanted to mention that in 2017 was the first time I had heard of the Blue Hills Association. And we had gotten information that was pretty negative about the plans for the Slate School. And it sounded, my first reaction was, it sounds like the sky's falling. And we decided to attend the public hearing, and was amazed by the presentation and what I consider to be both visionary leadership and a visionary project. And I thought, you know, it was also great that it was being led by North Haven people. You know, these were North Haven residents. And from that moment on, as far as the first hearing was concerned, we were big supporters. And shortly after the hearing ended that we attended, we saw there was a list, and both my wife and myself were on the list of people who were against the school. This was a list that was developed by the Blue Hills Association. So we had to work a little bit to make sure that our names were off there, since we hadn't authorized it. But certainly the trust level between myself and the Blue Hills Association was lapsed at that point in time. And I can say that since 2017, I have heard nothing, no communication whatsoever from the Blue Hills Association. So I began to wonder whether it was actually still a working group. And so I'm very much totally in support of this project. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to call Steve Fitzgerald, followed by Mary Quinn Devine.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Fitzgerald, last name Fitzgerald. My wife and I and our 3 daughters are 20-year residents of North Haven. We live at 34 River Road in the Millbrook neighborhood. I want to make 3 points briefly. First is essentially a kind of a selfish point that I think we should all be thinking about, and that is bringing the Slate Upper School to town is good for all of our real estate values. Frankly, when we've already heard tonight from parents who live in Milford and other towns who are looking to purchase in North Haven, the educational offerings that are available in town increase the real estate values for all of us. So that's a selfish point that I frankly think we should all be thinking about. Second of all, I think a point needs to be made about what would be the alternative if, in the unlikely event, this commission were to turn down this project. The likely alternative is that land will be developed, likely with 3 homes, and with the Slate School being such a stellar steward of the environment, it is likely the case that those neighbors who presently oppose the project for the upper school would, if their concerns truly were motivated to preserve the environment in their area, would likely be facing a much less attractive alternative of 3 or more houses being put in that area with a developer and homeowners who likely would be not nearly the stewards of the environment that the Slate School has been to date. The third point I want to make is I commute every day on Ridge Road, past Ridge Road Elementary School. The Upper Slate School is going to be a fraction of the size of Ridge Road Elementary School. And I must say that the impact on my morning commute driving by Ridge Road Elementary is minimal at best. And again, the Slate Upper School is a fraction of the size of Ridge Road Elementary. And frankly, the impact for those of us who commute on Ridge Road, those of us who live in the neighborhood surrounding Ridge Road Elementary, is very minimal. So thank you for your time, and please approve this excellent project.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you. Next, I'd call Mary Quinn Devine, followed by Anthony Fizzer. Mary Quinn Devine on the call.
My goodness. Mary Quinn.
I'm unmuting. I'm mute. Hi, everybody.
Mary Quinn Devine.
Hi, Vern. How are you?
Hi, Mary Quinn. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Same here. Sorry I had to leave, but I have a very bad neck, and I couldn't agree. I agreed with everything that everybody has said, at least from 7 to 8. But I feel a bit better now, so I'm back on. Mary Quinn Devine, 196 Rock Road. I'm a resident of North Haven for 30, it's coming up in 40 years now, 38 or 39 years. And more important than that, I taught, and first of all, I'm a retired educator of 42 years. The last 31 of those years was in our own system. And it was a good ride, a very good ride. No complaints from me, no complaints from me. So coming from the mouth of an educator, I was going to say I'll keep it brief, but teachers don't keep things brief. However, I'm going to read my statement that I put into the letter and then just do a little expository on it. First of all, everybody, happy spring. And may we have a wonderful summer and a safe and fun summer. I enthusiastically endorse Slate School's detailed and thoughtful plan to establish the Upper State School at 51, my cat's bothering me, Ridge Road. In addition to an excellent, expansive curriculum, skill in nurturing and guiding students' curiosity and intentional concern, and care for the environment, their intent to preserve and repurpose the abandoned church building is a noble undertaking, and people shouldn't bypass that. That's a sense of history. It's a sense of ancestry, and that's really important as different buildings get torn down all around us, whether it's in North Haven or in New Haven.
We're at 2 minutes.
All right.
All right, okay, 2 minutes. All right. All the things that people have said, I'm not going to repeat because they have said it better than I. The one thing that I want to say, besides the fact that I endorse this plan without reservation, and I was part of the 2017 meetings and wrote emails and did everything. One of the main points is the Slate School, Jennifer and Julie and the staff constantly reaching out to the community. It's very, very unusual. Public schools, sorry, folks, I am a public school teacher, but it's done rarely. They reach out to not just the North Haven community, but the surrounding area at no cost, with all kinds of opportunities to participate in interesting and educationally sound and inspiring presentations. All we have to do is sign on. That's typically how it goes.
We're at 3 minutes now, so if we can.
One more sentence.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. The Slate School, the faculty, first of all, they're an enormous resource to public school teachers if we take advantage of this. Not just public school teachers, but anybody who's interested in a wider view and expanse of what true education is, which is the whole child. And people who know this know it well. And I can't say enough about. And I visited the school, so I've seen them in operation. I couldn't grasp why other people would have so much opposition in the beginning, but I think that opposition has petered out only because none of the concerns came to fruition, and I doubt very much that any concern now should be of any consequence. So I thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
All right. Next, I'd like to call Anthony Fizzer, followed by Charlotte Luzzy. Anthony Fizzer? If not,
okay.
I'll move.
Yep. Ooh, that didn't take out of my time, did it?
Nope. The clock starts now.
I came in late. Do I understand I have 5 minutes or no? Did I miss
We're trying to
something?
limit people to no more than 3 minutes because we have a lot of people we're trying to get through.
I understand. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. I thank the commission for all its work, not only on this night, but on all the prior years of work that have been put in. My wife and I'm speaking for my wife, Esther, and I, who live at 29 at 150 Kings Highway. We've been here for 29 years. And prior to that, we were on LeGrand Road, so very much in the area. I am speaking for my wife, sort of a rare opportunity. And between us, we'd like to say that we were at the first planning and zoning meetings. We were at the church meetings in the very beginning. We sent in letters of support and have been very pleased with the results of the Slate School. My key issues are, does the proposed use give value to our community? And the second key question for me is, are there concerns or problems that override that value? As far as value, I think it's clear. People have spoken to that tonight very strongly. Our most important resource is our children. If we can approve a store that produces 8 trillion cardboard boxes a day in town, we can certainly emphasize our children also and approve that kind of an application. The applicant has an excellent track record. They've done everything that they promised, that I've heard them promise. They've kept the community involved, heavily involved. Again, not one business in the 30 years I've been here that the planning and zoning has approved has ever contacted me about anything, educational or otherwise. The Slate School has bent over backwards to involve everybody. The value to the town, people have spoken to. I know the first question that realtors have from new people who want to come into town is, what is the quality of schools?
We're at 2 minutes.
And the last thing is on the concerns traffic. I have seen no increase in traffic on Kings Highway. I doubt if there'll be any from this new location, which is even better with more ingress and egress and more opportunities to go in different directions, diluting the traffic. And lastly, destruction of our rural and rustic character. I don't believe this is like Walden Pond anymore here. There have been many, many new houses. The cars have increased dramatically with daily commuters, not a single child in them. And I believe that the repurposing of the existing building will be a very good step. I urge the commission to give full approval, adding maybe a few reasonable conditions if it feels such are justified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you. Next, I have to call Charlotte Luzzy, followed by Jesse Rink.
Yes, Charlotte Luzzy, 105 Kings Highway. And I'm here to extend my support for the Slate Upper School project. Excuse my voice because I've got allergies.
Did you give it?
My husband and I live one property away from the current Slate School, and they've been exceptional neighbors. They tend to the environment as they had promised. They've not caused any disruptions to the surrounding area. They respected the neighborhood, invited the neighborhood and others with events and talks, just as everybody has already stated. And they've continued it through the pandemic with the virtual events. They give back to the community, which I think is wonderful. They've become part of the community and part of the Blue Hills community. None of the inflammatory fears that were presented at the 4 years ago have happened, and nobody really thought they would. Many of us have welcomed the Slate School to the Mansfield Street, and we continue with our support on Ridge Road. In the plans that they've done indicate they'll take meticulous care of the property and the church. I believe that the school will enhance the neighborhood and speaks well for North Haven, that they've chosen to house such a forward-looking institution to this town. And I encourage you to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have to call Jesse Rink, followed by Brett Pellegrino.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jesse Rink. Last name is spelled R-I-N-C-K, 26 Cromwell Road in North Haven. Just want to say I'm here tonight to give my full support to the Slate Upper School. We believe in the current school and subsequent upper school so much that we actually decided to move to North Haven. So we actually moved in on April 23rd. My wife works there. You heard from her earlier, Katie Kessler-Rink. I have to say that we wouldn't have moved to North Haven if it wasn't for the school. Didn't really know about the town until driving to drop off our son every day. If it wasn't for the school, we wouldn't have discovered North Haven and all it has to offer. And I got to say, we've been hooked ever since. So I'm the parent of a current student, as I said, and I have to say that his growth this past year has been incredible to watch. He's so connected to the amazing environment that surrounds him at this school. And the thing that gets me is he's just excited to get there every day. And Sunday nights is, we ask him, we tell him tomorrow is Monday and it's school, and he jumps for joy. And I don't think that's very common. So I think we're very lucky. And it's easy to see he's a lifelong learner, and I'm sure he will continue to do so. And we're so very grateful to Slate School for that opportunity and for our youngest son to receive a similar education in a few more years. So we are impressed by the way that Slate cares for nature and teaches children to care for nature. And the school practices what it teaches with the way the buildings are and built and operate and the way they respect the land around them. And we want this for our family, and we're grateful for our children's education that it will be able to continue beyond at the upper school. So I just want to finish and talk about the location of that proposed upper school. And so Sleeping Giant has always held a special place in our family's hearts since we moved to Connecticut about 15 years ago. So hiking there has always been a way for me to find peace and get reconnected to nature, usually after like a long week of work. And these days we find similar peace with my young family when we visit for, mini hikes and water play at the Mill River.
2 minutes.
And for my two boys to be able to eventually attend the Slate Upper School that is so connected to Sleeping Giant, we would just be so thrilled for them to have that unique opportunity. So thank you so much for everybody's time.
Thank you
very much, sir. Appreciate it, Jeff.
All right, next I have to call Brett Pellegrino, followed by Prima Vora.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brett Pellegrino. That's Pellegrino. I live at 519 Whitney Avenue in New Haven. I want to start by thanking the Planning and Zoning Committee for taking their time to listen to us all this evening. I'd also like to thank them for approving the Slate Lower School, a place that has truly changed my life and the lives of so many incredible humans who I get to see on a daily basis. I'm proud to say I am a former citizen of North Haven, Connecticut, and the associate grade 2-3 teacher at Slate Lower School. I would now like to say a few words in support of the application for the new Slate Upper School at 5100 Ridge Road. My family and I have lived in North Haven for many years. My father grew up in this town and still serves in the North Haven Education Foundation. We're strong believers in education and value all types of schooling. My father received a private school education at St. Stephen's Grammar School and Notre Dame High School, while myself and my siblings chose to grow up in the public schools of North Haven. Looking back, it would have been incredible for there to have been a place like Slate School that would have fostered my personal lens as a learner and worker. Although there was nowhere quite like that in my school days, I did have the integrated day program at Ridge Road Elementary School, as well as the magnet school ECA in high school to nurture my love of the arts and project-based learning through the years. However, it would have been a great privilege to be at a school in my town that thrives on progressive education and yields ideas towards more fields of studies that were non-existent at my own. There should be choices for where young minds can grow in the world we live in today. Having a town that offers a variety of schools appealing to all types of families will only help build the community and strengthen its reputation as a place that values all of its citizens and provides them with the resources to be connected to our ever-growing and changing world. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me this evening. Your care in this matter is very much appreciated by everyone who wishes to see this completion of an amazing school for the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have to call Prima Vora, followed by Sarah Reed.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Prima Vora, V-O-R-A. I'm a resident of East Haven, Connecticut at 66-4 Cozy Beach Avenue. I'm also a teacher in the New Haven Public Schools. I am also a parent of 2 boys who have attended Slate School since kindergarten. I learned about Slate School when this commission was deliberating on the school's original application. I read articles in local newspapers about the proposal, attended the information session at the North Haven Public Library, and I actually read the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes. Why? Because as an educator and a parent, I felt a full alignment with Slate School's vision: curiosity-driven, nature-based, student-centered, and emphasizing a passion for learning and creativity. I have seen that this vision is not just on paper, but it is brought to life daily at Slate. Slate School has given our kids an unparalleled education here in North Haven. I have researched schools across the country and in Connecticut, and there is none like Slate, especially one that is so thoughtful about the use of technology, as we are a screen-free household. Our boys cry when they can't go to school because they are ill, and they do not know what it means to be bored. I am convinced that the Slate Upper School will continue developing their curiosity and also help foster the next generation of leaders in fields as diverse as science, math, art, language, music, ecology, and government. These will be leaders who are broad-minded, for the vision for the upper school is interdisciplinary, which in itself is unique amongst public and private schools in Connecticut and in the country. These leaders will also embody values that are at the core of Slate School: kindness, gratitude, and collaboration. Everything done at Slate is always done with these values at the forefront. Our kids are grateful for their classmates, their teachers, the cleaning crew, the books they get to read, and the very earth that they play on and learn from. They also know kindness deeply because they see kindness manifested daily at Slate.
2 minutes.
The word bullying is not even in their vocabulary, and everyone works together. I watched the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting last month and was awed by the vision for 5100 Ridge Road. The upper school plans are meticulous and show an appreciation for the land, the unused church, and the surrounding community. If given the chance, I know that the Slate Upper School will help develop intelligent leaders who are kind, grateful, and work well with each other. I am truly thankful that this commission approved Slate's original application. Please let us continue this learning journey and approve the Slate Upper School. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Sarah Reed, followed by Chris Powell.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Sarah Reed. My last name is R-E-E-D. I live at 1980 Hartford Turnpike in North Haven. I just want to add a few words in addition to many wonderful things that I've heard this evening. My husband and I have lived here in North Haven for 7 years. We have 2 children who are in North Haven public schools. I am a teacher and I have experience teaching in both public and private settings in both kinds of schools. And it has become more and more apparent to me with my years of experience as a teacher that there is this need for a variety of styles of education in any community, not just for the youngest children, but on up, and that continued education on up into the middle and high school years, I think is essential to keep that consistent growth for those specific children, and then just to see how that can influence and impact the community as well. I just wanted to say that I have been from the beginning excited by the mission and vision of the Slate School. I'm inspired by the commitment to environmental sustainability, as we've heard from many people here tonight. And so I'm going to keep my comments brief, but I would just like to say that my husband and I both are very happy to offer our support for the upper school proposed project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd call Chris Powell, followed by Abram Smith.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Powell. That's P as in Paul, O-W-E-L-L. I live at 29 Mountain View Terrace in North Haven. I grew up in Hamden and have now raised 2 children and lived in North Haven for over 20 years. I am also an adjunct teacher at ACE's Wintergreen Interdistrict Magnet School, where I teach photography and video production. And by trade, I am a video producer. I've had the pleasure to produce a lot of content for Slate School, going back to for the lower Slate School, going back to when they first opened. You know, something I like to do in my business is, you know, a lot of people have talked tonight, and I want to try to leave you with some words that I think everybody can think of when they think of Slate. Caring, invisible, environmental first, and home. These are all things I've noticed as I've been able to film on the beautiful campus for the lower school. As a filmmaker, it's a pleasure. I've seen the school, even when it first opened, you know, have the beautiful plantings, and the whole campus is just gorgeous. And over the years, it's gotten even better. There's not a time I've arrived on that property where I don't see some sort of wildlife, usually deer or turkeys. And I've gotten to interview several parents who I've seen here tonight. I've interviewed all the staff there. I've actually kind of known some of these kids as I come to the school and interact with them and film different projects. And it's amazing to see what they've developed and create there every day. I don't see why this wouldn't be approved. I'm obviously in support of it. And thank you very much for my time tonight.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Abram Smith, followed by Stephanie Ball.
Hi, my name is Abram Smith. My last name is spelled S-M-I-T-H, and I live at 23 Bates Road in Chester, Connecticut. Thank you very much for inviting me to share my perspective on this topic and voice my strong support for Slate Upper Schools construction. I have 3 young daughters, the oldest of which is currently enrolled as a kindergarten student at Slate School. And as I said, I live in Chester, Connecticut, right next to the Chester Elementary School, in fact. But I choose to commute 45 minutes each way to North Haven 5 days a week. And now I run errands in the area. I buy from local businesses. I interact with the North Haven community often, which I wouldn't otherwise do if my daughter were not attending Slate School. I even rent office space close to the school so that I can start work soon after morning drop off and make the most of my day until pickup in the afternoon. It also serves as a hub to interview and engage prospective employees for my business from Quinnipiac and other places in and around North Haven. But I'd like to share a short personal story that I hope highlights just how important Slate's curiosity-driven philosophy is to me and my family. So this is a point about the education, really. I grew up in the 1980s and the 1990s, and I went to great public schools and a great private school in 11th and 12th grade. But I always heard a narrative that went something like this, and it may sound familiar. Get good grades so you can get into a good college, so that you can get a good job, so you can make a lot of money, so that you can be better off than your parents are. So, you know, in reflecting on this, education was always just a means to an end, kind of a ticket to a better life. But the problem was there was never really any dialogue about what that better life actually meant. It was always measured implicitly by a job that paid well and the number and the quality of material possessions. And that in and of itself was the end goal. And it's not an unworthy outcome if you're pursuing what you love to do and if you know what you don't want to do. So when I was researching schools for my daughter, and really why do we drive an hour and a half every day to bring her to kindergarten, it was these words, curiosity-driven education, that stood out for me. And it occurred to me that the art of nurturing curiosity and interest is a process, and it deserves energy, guidance, and it deserves a forum of its own. And Slate School provides that, and we're blessed to have Rosie attending in kindergarten. And we're about 1 year in, and my daughter's learning how to learn, and she's engaging with topics that she cares about.
3 minutes.
Thank you. And looking back on this year so far, I think I'm most grateful that she seems to know why she likes one topic over another, something I really never had. And, you know, we're really lucky to have Slate School here in North Haven. The school is unique, and I believe it can catalyze a change in education in this country. You know, I gave you a personal story, but in a macro sense, I read a poll a number of years ago that actually stated that about 2/3 of Americans are disengaged or actively disengaged with their jobs, and a full 15% of them actually hate their jobs. So when I think about this curiosity-driven opportunity, to me, I think, imagine what these numbers would be like if we had a whole generation of kids who were really allowed to explore their interests and curiosities, and before they enter the workforce, really understand and have an inkling on what they might want to do. So we need more support for schools like this, including Slate Upper School, not less. And we need it because these children can bring the best of themselves forward in sustainable engagement with the world. So I'm asking you to really support the upper school, and thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Stephanie Ball, followed by Tracy Hayes.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Ball. I live, last name Ball, B-A-L-L. I live at 25 Palmer Place in Easton, Connecticut, but I hope to soon be a resident of North Haven. As my husband mentioned earlier, my family is actively searching for a home in North Haven, and we are hopeful that upper school will be approved so we can confidently move forward with the purchase of our forever home. My daughter Katie is currently in kindergarten at Slate School. And as I mentioned, we live in Easton and drive 30 minutes to school there and back twice a day. This is a true testament to what an amazing school Slate is. I began following Slate School on social media many years ago, and I'd always dreamt of sending my children there as the school's philosophy really resonated with our values as a family. It truly is one of a kind, and there's nothing like it in the area. I almost didn't apply due to the long commute and having 2 other young children at home. But despite the distance, my husband and I decided to attend an information session. For the entire drive, my husband kept saying it was just too far, it was unrealistic. But as soon as we pulled up to the gates, I knew right away this was the school for our children. Anyone who has visited Slate Lower School can attest to the fact it is a truly magical place. There were literally deer running through the fields next to our car as we drove up to the school for the first time. We are frequently greeted by the most beautiful wildlife during pickups and drop-offs, and it is apparent that the animals of North Haven love Slate School just as much as we do. We have been commuting to school for over 7 months now, and I can honestly say the long drive is absolutely worth it, and we are filled with gratitude the entire way. That being said, we are looking forward to a shorter commute once we move to the area. It was an absolute blessing that our daughter was accepted to Slate School, as soon after we found out she had developed some serious health issues due to mold exposure at her old preschool. The fact that Slate School is one of the most environmentally friendly schools in the country and does not use any sort of toxic products both inside and out has been paramount to her healing journey. Knowing that she will continue to have the ability to learn in a healthy environment for the remainder of her elementary education with the development of Slate Upper School is a huge relief. One of my sons was also exposed to mold at the same preschool and will also benefit from Slate's non-toxic environment when he attends in the near future. I want to end with mentioning that part of the social emotional curriculum taught to the children at Slate School focuses on fostering kindness, gratitude, and doing for others. These are precisely the qualities that make a good neighbor. Anyone would be lucky to have a Slate School within their community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Tracy Hayes, followed by Julie Boysenberry.
Hi there, my name is Tracy Hayes, Hayes. I'm currently a resident on Bowtown Manor in Cromwell. And first, I'd like to thank the commission for approving the original Slate School. I have 4 young children, and our family is one of the original families to attend. 2 children currently are at Slate, with a 3rd beginning in the fall. I grew up in Cromwell, and I knew nothing of North Haven until we found Slate School. We are in the car 2 hours every day because this community is unmatched. Now that the upper school is in the works, we are actively looking to find our forever home in North Haven, and bring our 2 small businesses there as well. I echo all of the remarks here being said tonight by Slate families and supporters. What is being spoken here is absolute truth. And you have to admit, it's pretty remarkable and beautiful. I'd like to add that the community Slate School has fostered is one of compassion, kindness, respect. And these are really wonderful families with children who genuinely care about our neighbors, who respect our environment and our surroundings, especially others. And they're just downright kind-hearted, thoughtful, and good people. Slate is a gift to your community. I was just telling Jennifer a story. I have other stuff written, but hopefully this is under 3 minutes. The other day I was driving in, and I'm going to get teary-eyed. I was driving in, dropping my kids off to school the other morning, and I just had such an overwhelming feeling of gratitude, of how beautiful everything about the Slate community, everything that it embodies, the nature-based just location, and how it looks like it belongs, and how they've created just such beauty within the natural landscape and the faculty and the students. And I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. If you haven't had the opportunity to drive in and just experience that, I welcome you to do that so you can understand what truth and love is being spoken here tonight. We need more of this, truly. Kind people who are cheerful and joyful and grateful, positive energy. We need more of this, and the Slate community fully embodies these qualities, and we can't wait to share that energy rooted in kindness, respect, and love with our friends and neighbors in North Haven. Thank you for choosing love and truth and positive energy when approving the upper school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
I'd like to call Julie Boysenberry, followed by Shane Quinn.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Boysenberry. I live at 80 Tokenique Drive in North Haven, and I did attend the April Planning and Zoning meeting as well. I'm happy to be here tonight to express my unwavering support for the upper school. I want to mention that 5100 Ridge Road was the location of a church for decades, and churches and schools are both gathering places for communities with a shared mission and values. They are both benevolent organizations, and they tend to be assets to a neighborhood. The Slate Upper School will be a place to learn, to cooperate, and to collaborate. I have personally visited the Slate School, and to say that I was impressed would be a gross understatement. Thoughtful attention to detail is everywhere. And while it is impressive, it is not meant to impress, but it is always to serve an important purpose. I fully support the application of the upper school, and I could not be more interested and excited to see what they have begun at the lower school to continue on in the upper school. And I cannot wait to visit. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Shane Quinn, followed by Lisa Bach.
Shane.
Thanks, Tim. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shane Quinn, Quinn. I live at 11 Sherwood Drive. My wife and I have been residents in North Haven for 4 years now. We bought our first home here. First off, thanks to the commission for the opportunity to lend my voice of support to this project. I feel that it's not only worthwhile, but necessary for the continued diversification of thought and resource within our town. As a friend of the Slate School, I've seen firsthand the success of the lower school. On an invitation from Julie Mountcastle, who I've been lucky enough to know for a number of years, my wife and I visited the lower school for the first time about 2 years ago, and were taken by not only the forward vision of the curriculum, but the beauty of the campus. The first thing we noticed as we pulled up the beautiful drive was how integrated the campus felt to the existing landscape. As we walked inside, we learned that amongst the building, they have proven to be one of the most environmentally friendly schools in the country, as we've heard tonight and at the last planning meeting. As you're aware, from the sustainable grounds maintenance to the indoor lighting conducive to student concentration, the school was thoughtfully appointed in a way that I'd not seen before. I'm a professional at the Yale School of Drama, and I can say that the curiosity-driven curriculum is unlike anything I've been exposed to in my career in higher education, and that the town is lucky to have such a unique institution to call it home. Its unique style of learning is something I believe is attractive to many parents, as we've heard tonight, and having this educational option in the town, I believe, is an incredible asset. I'd be remiss if I didn't laud the caring vision of the school's leaders as well, especially during the past year of the pandemic learning. The schools not only continued their mission creatively, but have recruited world-class thinkers to the vision. If you've not seen the school-sponsored panels on Facebook, they're a must-see, attracting a variety of educational developmental professionals, and by effect, bringing further notoriety to the town. Lastly, as a homeowner, I'll just say I recognize the concerns other neighbors may have about the surrounding area and environment.
2 minutes.
Thanks, Tim. The amount of consideration that went into the lower school development is a model to me for how careful care should be given to our relationship and the land around us. And I have every confidence that the proposal that you're hearing tonight will not only mimic the successful model set by the school's founders, but further attract outstanding young thinkers to the town of North Haven. Thanks again to the commission to let me voice my support of this project.
Thank you very much, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Lisa Bach, followed by Nancy Labanara.
Hi, my name is Lisa Bach. I reside at, sorry, there's feedback from my husband's phone. Hold on one second. I reside at 1298 Hartford Turnpike in North Haven. Being a former teacher for a decade in the past, I couldn't be more in favor of Upper Slate School, especially for my children. Excuse me, sorry. Quick. Sorry, my baby just happened to wake up at this moment in time. So I had to bring her down. But anyways, we were beyond elated when our 5-year-old daughter got accepted into Slate School. She started her kindergarten year this fall, and we have noticed immense joy and excitement along with her expressing a love for learning, her friends, her amazing teachers and staff at her school. And we were drawn to Slate even prior to the official opening due to many reasons. One reason being that the values of the school being nature-based meant acres of nature providing endless educational explorations for the children. Also, Slate is all about being healthy and environmentally friendly, which is so crucial for our children to learn about that, as well as critical for environment. Slate's desire to cultivate creative thinkers and lifelong learners allows for children's curiosities to be explored. And we were also drawn because of the selection of the personnel that has just been impeccable. The whole Slate community brings such wonderful and positive energy. that truly radiates once you enter the grounds. We often wondered what would happen when our daughter completed Slate and then would have to continue on to 6th grade. So as soon as we heard about this plan, we were beyond elated, and this church will serve as a higher purpose for this. The plans to have Slate Upper School be valuable to the lucky students that get to go there, along with the community. And we hope that this type of model will inspire other towns and states as well, because Slate would definitely be an innovative pioneer to showcase this. There's just so much to learn from this type of school, from the educational aspect to the purposeful and conscious planning, designing, and building aspect to create this sort of school. We are thrilled, and we are 110% supportive for this journey. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call Nancy Labanara, followed by Lily Chandra.
Nancy? No Nancy?
Nancy Labanara? All right, if Nancy's not here, can I move to Lily Chandra?
Sure. Hi. My name is Lily Chandra. I live at 1825 Ridge Road, right here in North Haven, less than 5 minutes away from Lower Slate. I've lived in Connecticut my entire life, and I've owned a small business in North Haven for the last 20 years. Both of my children attend Slate Lower, and their growth has been supported and nurtured there since the school opened its doors in 2017. My husband and I are in full support of the building proposition of Slate Upper at 5100 Ridge Road. We've been avid supporters of Slate School's vision since 4 years ago when we found out about the proposed construction of Slate on Mansfield. We pledged to wholeheartedly support the school and its vision then, before the school was even built. Between my husband and I, we attended every single P&Z and wetlands meeting and are so grateful to the members of the P&Z Commission then for seeing the potential of this amazing place and approving its application. By approving the lower school, the commission planted an important seed in the growth of education, not only in my little city and in my little kids, but in the proliferation of curiosity-based education worldwide. Besides being an amazing school that my two children love to go to, Slate School in 3 short years has become a trailblazer of child-led learning for educators and parents and lovers of learning everywhere. And from our experience 4 years ago, we remember the road to building a school does not always go over well with the neighbors, some of them. My husband and I, as we went to every P&Z meeting to show our support, tried to speak with opposing neighbors in our community to share how Slate is the exact unique educational experience that all children need. That Slate's philosophy is not a high bar of privileged learning inaccessible to everyday folks. If anything, it's a return to the simple, natural way all children, all human beings, in fact, learn. We all learn best when we are relaxed and when we're happy. That's it. If you can create that, you can teach a child almost anything. This is the kind of learning that we wanted our children to have, yes, but we really believe all children and young adults should have it. And that brings me to my next point. Slate also has the most progressive financial aid support of any school in the state. It is the only school in the area that I know of that is need blind.
All right, 2 minutes.
So to say that Slate is striving to create some sort of elite experience is ironic as much as it is plain false. Slate is full of working class families like my own from North Haven and from nearby cities. We are as much a part of the community of North Haven as we are of Slate. We play baseball on the city leagues, and we support each other, and we've felt the burn of shutdown from the pandemic together, as well as the great gratitude to have a functioning school that was safe as it could be to send our children to this fall. Slate has also shown its credibility and integrity in its hiring practices. 5 of the 6 faculty are locally grown from North Haven and the neighboring cities of Hamden and Wallingford. Slate has consistently chosen to support the community it lives in by giving gainful employment to teachers who have been brought from the community at large. This proves how vested Slate School is in its community and how good of a community leader it is in bringing new and good and necessary changes to our own little North Haven world. So for all these reasons, I, as a North Haven resident, business owner, and parent, feel extremely lucky that Slate School is practically in my backyard. In fact, the only thing that could be better was if I lived a teeny little bit closer, like some of the opposing neighbors do, so that my kids could actually walk to school.
Thank you, Lily. We're at 3 minutes.
To say yes and approve Upper Slate School. By doing so, you will not be only be saying yes to the community of children and families that attend, but you'll be giving a resounding yes to the global community that Slate has fostered by now to say environment matters, innovation matters, The preservation of human connection matters.
Be courteous.
And quality, accessible education matters. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Lisa Dabowski, followed by Avery Kelly.
Lisa.
Hi, my name is Lisa Dabkowski. I live at 66 Sugar Hill Road. Dabkowski is DABKOWSKI. I live at 66 Sugar Hill Road in North Haven. I have been a North Haven resident for 9 years. I attended last month's planning and zoning meeting as well. I am in full support of the Slate Upper School. I have been to the property at 5100 Ridge Road when it was a church, and a school there would make the property flourish, especially as we've seen with the property at the current Slate School. I have been to the current Slate School multiple times. The property is beautiful. They offer many programs to the community. Just go to their website to see all of the offerings open to everyone. I don't have any children in the school, Slate School, but I still appreciate the value that the school brings to the community. I fully support the Slate Upper School at the location of 5100 Ridge Road. I attended the planning and zoning meetings in 2017, and I spoke in support of the current Slate School then. And at that time, I said that North Haven was very fortunate and very lucky to have the school be in North Haven, and we should not turn this opportunity away. I repeat this sentiment now. I feel the same way with Slate Upper School. And as a North Haven resident, I'm in full support. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Avery Kelly, followed by Gina Armitage.
Hi, my name is Avery Kelly, Kelly. I live at 64 Tennyson Avenue here in North Haven. And as a North Haven resident, small business owner, and a board certified dance movement therapist, I've had the privilege of working with the Slate lower school students. I've spent time in their classrooms with their learners expressing social, emotional, and educational concepts through movement and dance. I've been incredibly impressed with the passion the students have in learning. This, I firmly believe, is a product of Slate School's approach to educating the whole child and letting their personal interest have a key role in their learning experience. There's so much excitement in their eyes as they seek to find answers for themselves through dance, art, nature, exploration, or experimentation. They are taught to respect what nature gives us and encouraged to learn by observing. The acres of nature surrounding the lower school are as important as the classroom as the walls that their desks are in. This approach is part of what makes the Slate School such an asset to the town of North Haven. The same respect that they drew upon to develop the acreage of the lower school will be brought to this former church to bring it back to life. We're lucky that the school calls our town home, expanding to serve older students with an age-appropriate, unique curriculum only makes the great educational option greater. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd go to Gina Armitage, followed by Eric Scaranuza.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gina Armitage, spelled Ahmetaj, and I live at 401 I Street. I'm a graduate of North Haven High School, and I'm currently a junior at Connecticut College. I have a sister who has been a student at Slate School since it opened in September of 2018, and she's currently a second grader. My sister always comes home from Slate School enthusiastic and ready to share about her day. Slate School has shaped her into a better student and continues to help her flourish both personally and academically. She always wants to go back to school on the weekends. It's all she talks about, and she wishes it was 7 days a week. I would love to see my sister, along with other students, continue to grow and be provided with the continuous support that Slate Upper School would provide at 5100 Ridge Road. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Eric Scarnuzza, followed by Namija Vusataj.
Eric
Scarnuzza. If Eric's not on, I'll move to Nimaja Vusataj.
Numaja?
I may have pronounced it wrong.
Hi, my name is Najmiya. Last name is Vuchataj. I live in North Haven, 3 minutes away from Blue Hills neighborhood. And
Would you
I
spell
live
your last name?
Vucetaj. I live 3 minutes away from Slate School in Mansfield Road and 3 minutes away from 5100 Ridge Road. I have older child who graduate from North Haven High School, another one who's junior in North Haven High School. My youngest child has been in Slate School since kindergarten, and she is now a second grader. She loves Slate School so much. She wished the school was 7 days a week, and she cannot wait to go to school each morning. She doesn't want to leave school at the end of the day. I am so grateful for Slate School because it gives her growth in kindness and education that she cannot get anywhere else. We are so excited for her to be able to have the opportunity to go to Slate Upper School. I live in Blue Hills neighborhood, so I know the area well. The 5100 Ridge Road proposed in not in good condition, and I'm so proud of Slate School for saving the church and convention in a beautiful space for the children. I think Slate Upper School will be a great use of empty property, and it can be something that my daughter, along with all children, will continue in growth and learning. I am in full support of proposed upper school and 5100 Ridge Road. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I move on to Marcus Saturo, followed by Eric Scarnuzza, if he's on the line.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Marcus Tavu. I live at 1298 Hartford Turnpike in North Haven. I've been a resident here for going on 3 years now.
Your last name, Marcus?
Satav as in Victor, U as in uniform. So originally I'm from California. I was serving in the United States Air Force, and I met my wife, and she's originally from Connecticut. And being from California, it's kind of hard to leave California. And what made it easy living in Connecticut was the pizza. The pizza was amazing. It was one of the biggest things I would latch on to while I've been living here. And, then eventually me and my wife, we get married. We start having children. We start thinking about things that are a lot more important than pizza. When Slate School came to our attention, long before it was developed, we were extremely excited because we knew the values that we wanted to instill in our family, Slate School embodied. And we were so blessed and grateful for Slate to come to fruition and for us to be able to get our daughter, Taylor, into the school now where she is a kindergartner. And upon starting this year, we were so excited to hear about the news and development of the Upper Slate School. And just recently having a newborn, we're excited for the potential for her to join the school as well. And now, the biggest thing that I like to say now is that Slate School is a real reason as to why I love Connecticut. Connecticut I've made my home here. I'm the head coach of the rugby team down at Quinnipiac. I've been coaching the men's team there for the past few years, and I'm also a small business owner here. And I've really developed my roots. I've really established my roots here in Connecticut, and I really enjoy the community that I've become a part of, especially with Slate School. With us being a new family and looking to build our tribe, we found that there were a lot of individuals from the Slate School, with the parents and the children. We all found ourselves building this community that's been really amazing. And I think it's really beneficial to the city of North Haven to have something like Upper Slate School, and the fact that they're blessed to have the Lower Slate School involved is amazing. And I think it will add more value to the city. And I think it would be great for North Haven to be the forefront of the city of which this school is basically based at. But yeah, just once again, just want to say thank you for your time, Tim. And I appreciate the time that you've given us, and we're grateful for this opportunity.
Good. Thank you very much.
Next, I would like to call Yukis Amatage, followed by Joe Papa Kenny.
Hi, my name is Yulzik Samitaj. The last name Ahmetaj. I live in 401 Knife Street, North Haven. I am a parent of 3 children, the 20-year-old one, 17-year-old, and a 7-year-old one. She resides in a Slate School, Lower Slate School. She started as a kindergarten. Now she's a 2nd grader. And I'm fully in support of the Upper Slate School in the 5100 Ridge Road. The reasons are plenty. We heard a lot today. Everything I wanted to say, it's been said 10 times. But one thing is, it's nothing better for a parent to see a child come in happy with a smile in the face and cannot wait to go back to school, goes to sleep 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, so she cannot be late tomorrow. The thing, cleanliness of the school, there's nothing better. You walk in the school, no chemicals, no nothing. The traffic is never traffic. Besides, you probably see a car or two beside the cars that of the parents that they send the kids to school. And that's all I would like to say, or I can say, because everything was said so far now. I don't know what else to say, but I'm fully in support of the Slate School, Upper Slate School.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Tim, we're going to be wrapping it up now. It's 10 o'clock.
Sure, if that's the pleasure of the commission, but by my notes, we probably have maybe 20 to 30 more people who want to speak in favor of the application. Obviously, we're not going to get through all those people this evening. I'm not sure if they'll want to come back another night. So, but
it's going to be a Zoom meeting, and it's going to be next month. It's going to be on a Tuesday evening, I believe.
Okay.
It is this month, and I mean, this was the plan from the beginning, to continue this long so everybody can have their say.
Sure.
We certainly don't want to stay here until 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning just to have this.
Sure, understood.
Is Alan with us, Alan?
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
This is
Alan,
Alan.
Can you?
We were looking at June 22nd for the next meeting. And my apologies on this, but the commission is really doing double duty at this point. They've been doing 4.5, 5-hour meetings for their normal meetings and adding the Slate School onto that. So we could double their pay, but I don't think it would help them much. Anyway, if we can go to the 22nd of June, I don't know. It would be helpful to me, Tim, if you could possibly, at least verbally, I guess, agree to any extension of time. We still have the COVID-19 rules. So, but if you might be able to put something on the record, that would be great for us.
Sure. For purposes of the record, we're happy to consent to a continuance of the public hearing to the special meeting to be held on June 22nd.
Very good. Thank you. I want to, 1 second, Tim.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Make sure that's good with everybody. What was that?
Mr.
Chair. John's trying to say something.
John?
John Parisi is saying.
John Parisi, if I could just perhaps suggest the week before, and I don't want to burden the commission, but we have a traffic engineer who has informed us that he is going to be out of state the week of what is the 18th through the 25th. 18th through the 25th. So we'd prefer to do it the 15th or perhaps the week after. And I appreciate the commission's indulgence. You know, we've been sitting here listening to 2 consecutive meetings, and
John,
so anyway, that's my request.
Okay, stand by. Jim, you know, we moved it around to, you know.
Yeah, both dates are good for me, Vern. June 15th is fine. I've got no
Hey,
problem with it.
Alan?
I just want to comment that, if they double our pay, 2 times nothing is still nothing. We're all
Very well put.
I want it very clear exactly how much we're making.
How much can we get to the rest of the commissioners here? Teresa?
Yeah, Vern, so are we talking about the June 15th?
Yeah, that's what John asked. Yeah.
I have a suggestion though, and let me throw this out. The 15th of June conflicts with Blight, which takes our town council out and puts her in conflict.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
That's not a problem. No, this is your council, if you could hear me. That's, don't be concerned about that. Tonight I had a conflict because I had a public hearing.
My other solution, I'm sorry, was the 29th of June. There are 5 weeks between our 2 meetings. Does the 29th hit anyone better?
Well, but wait a minute, wait. So the 15th's okay with me. Is it okay with Teresa? Why are we moving it to the 29th?
Yeah, I prefer the 15th.
Yeah.
I can do the 15th.
Okay, let's get the rest of the commissioners in on it.
Exactly. Let's see what else everybody else says.
Yeah. Brian?
The 15th is fine. Either day is fine, Vern.
Okay, how about Richie?
Yeah, the 15th is fine, Vern.
Okay, Paul?
Yes, the 15th is fine. Thank you.
Okay, Paul. And Joe's not, Rod?
15th is fine.
Okay, Alan?
Then we're going with it. Okay.
Can we work the 15th?
Yep.
What does that fall on?
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, Vern.
Okay, good enough. Let's, is that good with everybody now? So,
yeah.
John, is that good with you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the courtesy.
Okay, Alan, let the record stand that, we're gonna do the 15th. Is, Tim, that's good with you?
Yes, thank you. That's fine.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we will just continue this meeting until the June 15th at the same time and presuming the same place. Thank you all for attending and thank you all for your opinions.
Vern,
wait,
if I
you
can
need a
ask
motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I didn't know if we could approve the minutes.
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 19th meeting.
I'll second that motion. This is
Good enough.
Teresa and that was Brian.
Yeah, Teresa, call the roll on it. Or Jennifer? Somebody.
All right, I'll call the roll.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes. Vern Carlson, signify by saying aye or nay.
Aye.
Rich Wilson,
Aye.
James Giletti,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Rod,
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
All right, Teresa, aye. Motion passes. Minutes are approved.
Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, all. Okay, does that conclude the business we have here tonight?
I think
I
we
get
need
a motion to adjourn, Jim?
To adjourn.
Yeah, this is Jim Giletti. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second, please?
Vern, this is Brian Cummings. I'll second that motion.
Okay, Teresa?
Okay, all in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Vern
Aye.
Carlson.
Oh, I told you.
Aye.
Carlson.
That's
Aye.
right. That's right.
We'll be all right. We'll get it.
Rich Wilson,
Aye.
Brian Cummings,
Aye.
Rod Williams,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
James Giletti.
Aye.
All right, Teresa Ranciato, really aye. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good night.
Thank you very
Good
much.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.